man is a warrior, we are proud of him. From Christian Hill, Sherfield boyin, never buckle under pressure, he never give in. The mantra he sing, I was born to win. A man of the people always, so humble, so brave. They could never stop him, we'll go down in history. Call Parliament on the Bethesda Tambourine Tree, Bethesda Tambourine Tree. The man is a warrior, warrior. We'll always rise, freedom fighter. A man of faith, a man of steel, sure feel the real deal. You make the comparison, and when you conclude, Boeing and Western, Boeing you go choose. It's an easy decision, like chalk to trees. The veteran Boeing always in the lead, and Western so cantankerous. He course like crocus. The African proverb sure feels so neatly fit. Speak softly and carry a big stick. The man is a warrior, warrior. Will always rise, this freedom fighter. St. Philip South we vote in, Boeing we know him. Our rich community, respect to restore. Our heritage, they dump and ignore. The school up in Bethesda, abandoned just so. Look at Half Moon Bay, nothing to show. Incompetence in every way. Now I hear they plan to sell Willoughby Bay. From Freetown we army, stretch to Piccadilly. We go vote for someone to defend our legacy. The man is a warrior, warrior. We'll always rise, this freedom fighter. A man of faith, a man of steel, sure feel the real deal. Western grunt, Western squeal, sure feel the real deal. St. Philip South, it's time to heal, sure feel the real deal. Man of faith, a man of steel, sure feel the real deal. Sure feel the real deal.
Hello, good night, good evening, and welcome to UPP TV. We're coming to you live from the picturesque village of Freetown on the southeastern end of the island. I am Sean Nicholas, and with me this evening in our pre-rally discussion, I have Brother Chaku Simister. Good evening, Brother Chaku.
Good evening, Sister Sean. Nice to be in the constituency, nice to be in the country. Breeze feel it a little nippy, but you know how it is.
And we say that's how we do it in the East. And also Brother Trey Joseph. Trey, good evening, and welcome to the East.
Good evening, good evening. It's great to be in the East. Good evening to all the lovely people of St. Philip South.
Okay, good. And I say welcome to the East because, you know, sister constituencies, St. Philip's North, and we're in St. Philip's South. And of course, tonight we're here to give support to Brother Sherfield Bowen, who will be or who is the right choice for St. Philip South come next general elections. We're going to take you right up until the start of the rally at 7:30. So as we like to say, those of you who are on your way, we hope that you get here safely. And for those of you who are at home, we say thank you so much for joining us, whether via Progressive 107.3 FM, via Facebook, via Twitter, via Instagram, or via YouTube. We say welcome, welcome, welcome all to everyone. Now, Brother Chaku, you and I had a conversation earlier today, and you were giving me some real interesting stats in terms of the constituency of St. Philip South. Let us start there, our discussion there, before we get into our other topics for tonight.
Certainly, Sister Sean. We look at St. Philip South. St. Philip South, as you all may know, that we start voting in Antigua and Barbuda in 1951. We started with only 8 constituencies. By 1965, we had 12. And by 1971 general elections, we had 16 constituencies in Antigua and Barbuda. So St. Philip South, for the first time, the people of St. Philip South voted as in the constituency of St. Philip South in 1971. And that was the increase in the constituencies was a direct result of the protests and riots of 1968. And when we look at St. Philip South, it is an interesting history we're seeing as to the voting that takes place. For example, in 1971, the PLM was around. It was won by Cyril James of the PLM by 1976. And it's interesting to note that in 1971, there are 3 political parties that contested the constituency. There were the PLM, the Antigua Labour Party, and the Antigua People's Party, known as APP. But by 1976, APP had disappeared into the ALP, and so for 76 election, it was a straight fight between the PLM and the Antigua Labour Party. And that continued 76 in 1980 until 1980. Reuben Harris won again in 1980. By 1984, the UPM replaced the PLM as the party contesting in this constituency. And interestingly, it's our brother Wilmer Daniel who contested in 1984, and he was defeated by Reuben Harris. In 1989, again, Reuben Harris won the elections in 1989, but after he passed, we had Zero, who did a stint in a by-election. Then by 1994, Wilmot Daniel won the constituency. By 1994, we had the United Progressive Party contesting its first election nationally and including this constituency, St. Philip South. And by 1999, the winner was the Antigua Labour Party. And interestingly, the person who won in 1999 is the current candidate. The right choice is UPP's candidate, Brother Sherfield Boyan. And he won by a mere 8 votes in 1999. By 2004, Brother Wilmot came back and won the seat in 2004. Then in 2009, he won the seat again. And the interesting thing about Brother Wilmot Daniel and this constituency is that he has had the biggest loss. The second biggest loss. I think Keith Smith had the biggest loss against Reuben Harris. He had had a loss of some 226 votes against Reuben Harris in 1989. But he came back 10 years later in 2009 and had the biggest win, which was some 351 votes when he ran against Hyman Payne. Now, bear in mind that the constituency consists of Bethesda, Christian Hill, St. Philip's, and beautiful Freetown, where we are.
And Piccadilly as well.
And Piccadilly, parts of Piccadilly. And so it's so interesting because there are one important thing. The elections of 1976, Reuben Harris won it by 2 votes. It was 501 for Reuben Harris and 499 for the then PLM candidate. I think it was against Civil James.
Right.
So this is what we have. See, what we're seeing in this constituency, that there's been a consistency with the Labour Party, but there's not been any consistency with another same political party.
Right.
So Wilma Daniel in 1984 ran as UPM.
Yes.
In 1989 as UNDP. And in 1994 as UPP.
And I think that's an interesting point that you're making. So when the Labour Party would say that they have won several times in this constituency, it is not against the same party.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the point you're making.
Yes. That's. So here we are tonight. Whole number of issues to be discussed. I think we could just put it in context. And this constituency is the smallest constituencies. There have been twice we have seen changes in the number of electors. We saw it in 76 elections. The number of electors were actually smaller than the 71 election because they had a re-registration. Because in 1975, the Representation of the People Act came into effect, which gave 18 years old for the first time. And we're talking about the Antigua Labour Party has never been progressive. They have been in power since 1951, and they never attempted to extend the franchise to young people. It took the PLM in 1975 to extend that franchise. And so instead of waiting until you're 21 to vote, to participate in the country's life, you were allowed to do so at 18. And that's significant because 18 was considered the year of majority. You could pay tax, you could do everything except vote. And the Progressive Labour Movement put an end to that. Then the second time we saw a change was in 2004 election. Because again, in 2003, we had a re-registration. And then we saw a change, what an upward change in 2013 when once again we had a re-registration. But usually you look at St. Philip South. And when you look at St. Philip South, which comes in very, very early, it could give a strong indication. Once you hear St. Philip South and the City East, now the small constituency, you almost can predict where the night is going, except if it's an unusual times and the elections, people are eager to change the government, as it was in 1971, as it was in 2004, and as it will be in whenever
the election is called. And I think that's a good way for us to segue, and in a sense, because I appreciate the history that you give, and for our young panelists,
of course.
You see, because our people need to know where we're coming from in order to understand where we're going. And we have the tradition in Antigua where some seats are known to be Labour seats, some seats are known traditionally to be the opposition. I don't know why they keep saying opposition, but the blue seats. But what you have shown is that over the years, the Antigua Labour Party as a political party had been consistent, but it had fought against several political parties, and even within those, it was not able to win all the time. But we are now with Sherfield Bowen, the right choice for the United Progressive Party. And as you said, the feeling we had in the years previous, and we had in 2004, 2009, we are feeling it now. So we know definitely that Sherfield Bowen will be the right choice. And as you say, an early indication as to where this election is going to go. Brother Trey, I'd love to hear your take on that bit of history.
Well, it's pretty interesting to me. What stuck up to me the most, really, was the fact that the PLM was able to put in place for young people to be able to vote. Because as we know, young people take up at least half of the voting demographic. So young people, it's pretty important that you come out and vote. Your voting rights was given to you so that you can make a decision for your future. So you can make a decision for your constituency. I'm imploring to the people of St. Philip South to come out and represent and come out and vote for Brother Sherfield Bowen.
Certainly. Well, gentlemen, we have a plethora of issues dealing with as we continue our campaign. There are issues of jobs, there are issues of pensioners not being paid on time. There's the whole issue of cost of living. There's the whole issue of joblessness, and we can go on and on and on. Brother Chaku, I'm giving you the opening salvo in terms of the many issues that we're facing in this election campaign.
Let us take the issue of water. water problem has been plaguing Antigua and Barbuda for a very long time. The Antigua Labour Party, of the 70 years we have been voting in an election, they have had power for 55 of those 70 years. And in those 55 years, they have not done anything significantly to change the water situation in Antigua and Barbuda. Rather recently, you hear they talk about reverse osmosis plants. But we must remind the people of Antigua and Barbuda that the most serious attempt to solve our water problem started with the United Progressive Party. And its plan was to build a number of reverse osmosis plants around the country. And when we say around the country, we mean Antigua and Barbuda. Because the UPP built 2 reverse osmosis plants in Antigua and 1 in Barbuda during its 10-year term. But it went further, because one of the things you would have recognized, that droughts will come, therefore water storage becomes important.
For sure.
And it had 3 storage tanks. I mean, we passed one of those
Coming
huge
here, that's right.
tanks coming here, and one would believe, wow, that is something the United Progressive Party has done. Listen, water is one of the most important things we can have in our lives. And a government's responsibility to its people to ensure that they have an adequate supply of water must be set. And the question of water across the country,
yes.
Right.
and interestingly, it is across political lines.
I was just about to say that, Chaku, and I'm going to bring Trey in, because Trey, as a young man, you are on social media 24 hours a day.
Right.
And you made the point, Chaku, that the issue of water is not a political issue.
Right.
Because you go onto Facebook, you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, and everybody is making a case that there isn't sufficient water. I mean, Trey, tell us what is it that you've been seeing and hearing.
So to add to what Brother Chaku was saying about the tanks, there's one in Buckley's as well. And as you know, that's where I reside.
Yes.
And it's absurd, because it's since Brother Chandler was in power that was installed. So you must understand, it's well over a decade that tank has been there. And the people of Buckley's have been suffering with water shortages. Even up to this morning, the pipe has been off. They're promising us 1 shower a day, which is absurd. I mean, I can't believe this is what they're coming with.
I think that is a slap in the face of the people
Most
of Antigua and
definitely.
Barbuda. For you, for a minister, the minister of APUA, to be telling the people that we ought to be grateful that we're able to have 1 shower a day.
And that's not even an accurate statement.
Where in the civilized world, else in the civilized world, would you hear? But I just want to say, Chaku, you said 2 RO plants, the reverse osmosis plants. There are actually 2 in the eastern side. There is also one at Collins Dam when we come in. It was not completed at the time. It was not completed at the end of the UPP term. And my understanding is that it was only until recently that this administration has made attempts to connect it. So whereas we're having a water problem, and UPP, we saw the need and said the issue is water storage, and we would have done quite a bit to make sure that we address the issue of water storage. We have a government almost 10 years in office, and we're still talking about shortage of water, and the Minister of APUA is telling us, be grateful, the government is giving us 1 shower a day. How much more ludicrous can that become?
But tell you more again about this water problem. They tell us, listen, we produce the water, but in distributing it, there's a loss.
Yes, yes.
But during the UPP administration, APUA had started a program of replacing the pipes.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
When the Labour Party took over, they stopped that program. And of course, as we know, that some of the persons that have control over APUA had interest in a company that was producing water and selling it to...
So it was in the person's interest to make sure that his company did well and government's agenda gets left behind.
Yeah, and what we're saying, Sister Sean and Brother Trey, is a new UPP government makes water a priority, solving the water problem a priority. And we're not going to make no fake promises about finishing it in 14 days. What we will say, we will address it in a structured way. We will do it in a manner that as the water quantity increase, as supply increase, when there is a time for maintenance, it is equally distributed. And the most important thing is not merely the production of the water, but stop the waste. For them to simply say, well, we have the water now, but we lose it. What help is that to us?
None,
Precisely.
none.
And
Yes,
my
Ray.
my fellow young people who are on the live or watching from wherever you are, this is another reason for you to come out and vote. I know a lot of us have been saying, I don't feel like voting, my vote doesn't count. If I don't vote, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. We need you to come out and show your support. We need you to help us fix all these issues that we're having, because it's troubling that even though we should be grateful for the one shower, we still can't even get the one shower.
Exactly. Today in the news, we're hearing that, well, I from the list of places that I heard, that the disconnection will take place for the next 72 hours, which is really not news because it happens every day. There are people who are complaining for weeks, for months, they're without water. And there's a press release today outlining basically all of Antigua that will be without water for another 72 hours. And we ask, what's new? But, gentlemen, there's so many issues. I know we have only a short, limited time to deal with, but I want for us to now look at the whole issue of cost of living.
Oh my
A cry we hear every day from every quarter of Antigua and Barbuda.
And you
The
know
whole
what's
issue.
amazing?
Yes.
I'm so glad you brought that
Yes.
up. Because there's an ongoing debate on social media, and I'm sure my fellow young people can relate to this. There's this post that's going around saying right now it's the same amount of money to go out and eat rather than going and buying groceries. And that's simply because of that same issue. Cost of living, standard of living has gone up. It's crazy. There's something that needs to be done about it, and young people, we're imploring you to vote.
Yes. Brother Chaco?
You see, the cost of living, every day you go to the shop, you're coming home with less. And
Spending
a time
more.
ago, you used to spend exact amount with less. Now you're spending more and getting less. And you see, we must realize now, when we just speak of cost of living, we're saying that the United Progressive Party, the right choice to control cost of living, our political leader
Yes.
has already advocated that lowering the cost on the import
Duties.
of goods, on duties, will lower the cost of living.
Right.
And if workers are making the same and they're getting less, their standard of living is lowering.
Yes.
So we have to understand it's not just the high price, but how it affects your standard of living. So you may not be able to buy the things that you used to buy. You may have to get less or just do without altogether. But we're saying again, the cost of living affects everybody. And the
the-
Labour Party is telling you straight, we can't do anything about it. Well, we're saying the UPP
Will.
can, and
We will,
UPP will.
because
That's right.
that's the point I want to make, Chaku. Because it is not it is not enough for the government to put up its hand to say that we can do nothing about it. It is in the hands of the government to address the issue of cost of living. I remember when the political leader put it on the table first that a UPP administration will reduce the duties on food items. The Prime Minister scoffed at it. And he said, oh, the goods are already zero rated. But zero rating applies only to the application of ABST on goods, not on duties.
And on certain goods.
And only on certain goods. So we're saying the government should be able to give up some of the revenue that
Right.
it gets in duty to make sure that that benefit is passed on to the consumer.
Right.
And for the government to say that it cannot be done, it tells us it's a government that is out of ideas. And the UPP is coming to the rescue of the people of Antigua and Barbuda by directly addressing the whole issue of cost of living so that all of us can eat, all of us can live comfortably.
Right.
Because right now it is a struggle, Brother Trey.
Right. And to add to that, I can remember back in 2014, I remember this was in the height of elections and stuff. My home ec teacher at the time, who was my cousin, we were having a debate, and she was saying, went back in ALP's time, you used to come up with so many bags. Right now you have $100, you're only coming out with one bag. So I'm saying to her and all the other supporters of the Antigua Labour Party, since 2014 to now, has things gotten better? Has things gotten cheaper?
Very good question.
Things have gotten worse. and something needs to be done about it, and
Yes.
that's making the right choice.
Yes, Brother Chaco?
Now, we have to make it clear also that in St. Philip South,
Yes.
Sherfield Bowen is the right choice.
Yes.
Right?
St. Philip South, you vote for Sherfield Bowen, you give the seat to the United Progressive Party, so the United Progressive Party can become the government, and your standard of living will stop dropping. The cost of the spiraling cost of living will stop, because the United Progressive Party is about people and putting people first. And that's why, or one of the reasons why we are saying the UPP and Sherfield Bowen is the right choice.
Right.
But you talk about cost of living, Sister Sean and Brother Che. Oh Lord, when I go to the store, to the shop, and I see the prices, you know who come to mind? The pensioners.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
my
oh
goodness.
yes, oh yes,
The
oh yes.
pensioners.
Oh yes. Who have already given service to the country, and we should be treating them like royalty.
And bear in mind that as it relates to pensioners, it was the United Progressive Party, after it came to power in 2004, raised the pension from a minuscule, in some cases less than $200, to as high as $800. And we're saying, in light of the cost of living, that has to be looked at. Because bear in mind that most of our pensioners, that is the only income they have.
Right.
And as cost of living rises and their money is not going any place, it's very, very difficult for them. And so once again, we say, we in the United Progressive Party will look at our pensioners, we'll look at what is required for them to have a decent standard of living, and most important, to give them their pension when it is due.
Right.
And don't tell them after all you get it.
Yes, yes.
Nobody was saying that when they were making their payments regularly in
Right.
Social Security. And for us to change that, we need to vote the United Progressive Party, and in St. Philip South, vote for Sherfield Bowen, because he is the right choice. And Sister Sharon again, when I think about the pension, I say, oh Lord, how about them late workers?
Oh yes, oh yes,
How
oh
about
yes.
the late workers? How the current government relates to the late workers is just awful. The late
And
workers.
another situation where they throw their hands up in the
In
air
the air.
and say there's nothing that they
there's
can
nothing
do.
we can do.
People
That's
just
the
have to
thing, Labour
suffer.
Party, there's a problem, there's nothing we can do. As a matter of fact, just as they told the pensioners, you get it late, but at
You
least
get it
you
anyway.
get it. They're telling late workers, we're giving you a compassionate pay. Take it or leave it.
Right.
What the late workers are asking for and what they rightly and justly deserve is what they have earned.
Right.
They have earned that money. That is what the law says, that you are to be paid a severance once the business go belly up. And the aggressive and just simply nasty way in which Gaston Brown,
And high-handed way.
yes, deal with late workers, the UPP saying to the late workers, under a UPP government, late workers will get what they are entitled to. That is right, that is just, that is the only way to deal with the late workers. Give them. Look, Mr. Brown is not even saying, listen, you're entitled to X. We don't have all of it now, but we will give you, hold on to this until something.
yes, yes.
And blatantly and erroneously are telling late workers, we don't have any obligation to you. That is not true. They have an obligation to late workers, and once the United Progressive Party is elected, that the United Progressive Party will ensure that late workers get what is due for them.
And to add to that as well too, it is in the height of a pandemic. Times are hard not only here but globally. So you'd expect that the government, not only who is responsible for stimulating the people, are withholding from the people what is due to them, finances that could very well be useful to them and their families. They're stripping them of privileges that they would have worked hard for. And it's absurd.
I just want to remind our people that we're coming to you live from the beautiful village of Freetown, the southeastern end of the island. It's people might say it's long, but hey, when you get here, you will enjoy what is happening here. The atmosphere is building up. The cars are coming in. The people from the villagers are walking in. And we wanted to tell you, take it easy on the road. Get here on time. We're starting at 7:30 tonight. So stay tuned with us until the start of the rally.
Right.
But you see, you were finished with the point?
I was just going to say, if you have any questions, you just shoot them on our live, and we'll be sure to answer. We'll give you a shout out. You'll be able to hear your name, and then we'll ask you a question.
Well, there you go. This is our social media guy right here. And I want to get back to some of the issues because, I mean, you get tired when you list the number of issues. Chaco, we talk about land and the availability of land for people and how the whole creative enrichment scheme that we see only a few are benefited, and we don't have to go far. Remember this whole development at Willoughby Bay? What has become of that, Brother Chaco, which directly affects the people of St. Philip's North?
Well,
St. Philip's South.
One of the things that I found rather interesting is that all of this discussion was taking place privately, and certainly we heard it publicly about development as Willoughby Bay. But they totally excluded the villagers, right? The leaders, whether it's the church leaders, community leaders, or political leaders. It is no longer acceptable that you can move into a community and decide that you want to transform that community to your liking without any consultation. And that's another major difference between the Antigua Labour Party and the United Progressive Party. We believe that you have the capacity to discuss, and you must be consulted about governance, and more particularly things that affect you. And that's why the UPP consult, expanding what we call participatory democracy.
That's right.
And that project, we could tell you, under UPP government, if that were to take place, it would have to be after consulting the residents around the area. It had to be after talking to you, the people, talking to your leaders, talking to your ministers of religion, bringing you together the way the UPP does in a consultation, in a town hall meeting, hearing your views. And not merely hearing your views, because we are a people-oriented and people-centered party, is taking your views on board before decisions can be made.
Right.
Okay, Trey, I'm going to ask you to hold your point. We're due a break at this time. I just want to remind those of you on Facebook, on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, just share, keep sharing. Let your family know, let your friends know, let your co-workers know that UPP TV is live. Just share the live, share the live. And of course, we want to hear from you as well before we wrap up our discussions this evening. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come right back with some more discussion here on the UPP TV.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook, and you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, I have skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? Well, move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
PPTV, we're coming to you live from the beautiful village of Freetown. I am Sean Nicholas, and I have Brother Chaku Simister with me, and I have Brother Trey with me. And again, we thank you all for joining us on whatever platform you choose to join us. I just want to engage those who are online. Brother Trey, I'm going to ask you to read some, but there's a question here, Brother Chaku, that I'll place to you. And this person is asking, I am a registered voter living abroad. Can I come home to vote?
Absolutely. Yes, you can come home to vote. I want though you to be sure that you were registered when we had the last registration in 2013. And as long as you were registered when we had the last re-registration in 2013 and you have your voter's card, you just have to fly in and vote in the constituency in which you registered, because you would have already been qualified to register in that constituency. And there's no requirement that you are living in that constituency when you're going to vote if you're outside of Antigua and Barbuda. If you were living in Antigua and Barbuda and you move to another constituency, then the question of a transfer. But the short answer is yes, you have your card, make sure you put it in that pocketbook, as you call it overseas, and fly right in and help rescue Antigua and Barbuda with the UPP, because the UPP is the right choice.
Brother Chaku, as we're on the question of registration, I want for you to stress a little bit more on that, because there are persons who are asking whether or not it makes sense to continue to register even though an election is imminent.
And the answer is yes. If you're 18 years old, you're a Commonwealth citizen living in Antigua legally for 7 years from today's date, and you're living in the constituency in which you want to register for 6 months, go into the registration center, walk with your passport, and they will register you. It's not too late. And the reason why we're saying it's not too late is that we do not know exactly when the election will be called. And if you're registered today and the elections are called after April, you can vote. You won't be able to vote if the election is called at the end of April, using today as a date. But certainly, urging you that you cannot just say it's too late. It's not late. If you want to see your standard of living stop going down, if you want to see the cost of living stop going up, if you want to be able to express your freedom of choice, if you want to make sure that there's a government that cares about giving you water, if you want to make sure that there's a government that cares about your parents and grandparents with paying their pension on time, go and register now. Go and register now.
Yes, sir.
And Trey, our young people, we have to make a special plea to our young people, because very often we hear the cry that our young people are somewhat apathetic when it comes to election, when it comes to voting. What is your word for our young people in terms of the need for them to get registered?
All right, young people, let me appeal to you this. When you go to school, especially those of you who are in government school, when you go to school and you're displeased with the conditions of the school, you're displeased with the conditions of the books, you're displeased with the quality of the teaching that you're getting, or the lack of teachers, the lack of resources, does that sit well with you? Does that make you happy? What about the fact that you finish from school, or you're grateful, either you get financial aid or you get a scholarship or you're able to afford it, you go overseas, you get your qualifications, or even if you decide to leave fresh after high school and get a job, the availability isn't there. What about the fact that your voice is being silenced? Every time young people raise an issue, it's left in the shadows, it's left in the dark. Young people, it's time to be the change you want to see. It's time to step up and come out and vote so that the right choice, the United Progressive Party, could make all the right changes.
And we're understanding too, Trey, as you talk to children in school, that there are a lot of them in school who are still upset with this administration that forced them into getting vaccinated in order for them to remain in school. And my issue is not, well, I have issue with the force, but I had an issue, and Brother Chaku, you can come in on this too, when children were denied an education, when their parents made the choice and say, I do not wish for my child to be educated. And I think that was a gross error on the part of the Gaston Brown administration, when children were refused entry into school because they were not vaccinated. And they quickly rolled back on it, but the damage was already done, Brother Jack.
Precisely.
Yes. You see, the history of the Antigua Labour Party, they have never been supportive of having an educated population, because their view is that the population not being educated, they can exercise control over them easier. But parents and grandparents and your siblings, we cannot forget that grave injustice to our students. That attempt by the Antigua Labour Party to deny them their education due to a choice their parents made. You're punishing them and jeopardizing their future for a decision that they did not make.
Right.
And any government that cared for people, that want to see a progressive nation and a nation that grows and develops with an educated population, would never do something like that.
Right.
It is part of the program of not caring for youth and young people that we have seen the Antigua Labour Party.
And in addition to that, Brother Chaku, the pandemic would have forced the education system to develop the technology of virtual learning, of online learning. So we're living in a time where online learning is at its peak. It's at its easiest. Everything has been, all the kinks have been worked out, but yet still our nation is deprived of that. Our youths are deprived of an education. There are children within my village, within Buckley's, who I see just playing for the entire day. I would ask him, how was school today? Oh, I didn't go to school. Why not? I didn't have a tablet. I didn't have access to the internet. And these are things that the government can make readily available for our students to get the education that they deserve.
And even we're this far on in the pandemic, the government still has not gotten it right. The Gaston Brown administration still has not gotten it right. And I think it's unfair that the government schools, or most of the government schools in particular, are being asked to have what they call an 8-day cycle. So 1 week you go to school for 3 days, and another week you go to school for 2 days. And some of the schools are still not getting it right, because you have children who are showing up for schools when they're not scheduled to, and they're being sent back home, and there is no one there to take them home. What do we do with those children who are unaccounted for, who have no guidance? And there's also a situation, Brother Chaku, Brother Trey, where I think it's unfair that there are schools in this country, and the word is that the Minister of Education is associated with a school whereby they are allowed to go for 5 days per week. When there are other schools, you're telling us parents, we can send our children 3 days this week or 2 days next week. We're saying it's time enough. It's more than time enough for this government to get that fixed. And it shows that the management of the pandemic is still has left a lot to be desired.
Right. And something that's interesting is the schools. I'm touching on the schools is because something I've been having to deal with recently. Recently, a lot of schools have been broken into and vandalized.
Yes.
People, it's to the point where, I'm sorry to have to mention this, but it's a case where students are leaving feces on the desks.
Yes.
So how would you feel as a parent? You're sending your child to school, not knowing that they're going to a desk where someone may
Exposed
or
to
may
that.
not have.
Yes.
It's hard.
Trey, I'm going to allow you to read some of the messages, but I just want to respond to one person who is saying that she lives overseas and she wants to know where she can get the voters list. I am happy to tell you, my dear sister, that you can visit the UPP website. It's www.voteupp.com, www.voteupp.com, and you should be able to see the updated, which would have been the December voters list, and that's the most recent voters list. And you look to make sure that your name is still on the list.
Right.
Yeah?
All right.
You want to give us some of those messages?
Yeah,
just
of
so we
course.
acknowledge that you're part of our audience.
Of course. So I am going to say good night to Sister Ernesta James. She's saying good night, UPP. I'm seeing Takara Hanley. She's saying Gaston must go. Mabel Edwards Gerald. She's saying good night. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just continuing. So this is a question from Carol David Graves. Okay, she's saying how many women were helped by Maria Brown's organization? Can we shed some light on that, Sister Sean?
I wish I could, but I'll give an answer as best as I can.
All right. And this is the same Carol David Graves is saying, what is UPP going to do in challenging and exposing the deposit of $50 million to the Cedar Valley development? To develop Cedar Valley, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Right. So Debbie Joseph is saying, good night, my UPP sisters and brothers locked in from New York City. All right. Cheryl Josiah is saying, coming clean. We're going to get rid of Dean. All right. I'm showing she's checking in from St. George. And of course, just one more, Samantha Jareem Henry Jr. She's saying good night. Checking in from St. Mary South. She's saying, Brother Courtright Marshall, all the way. So these are just some of the people from... Oh, and my brother Jamal. Brother Jamal, good night. Nice to see you. All right, so this
and
is...
I just want to say good night to Mr. Edwards because we're live. People are passing by and saying hi. So good night to you, Mr. Edwards. But to get back to the question, I'm coming to you, Brother Chaku. There's so many questions that this government has to answer. And somehow there seem to be the government wants to put almost a gag order where the Shea Foundation is concerned.
Right.
Because it's a very pertinent question that people are still asking. We had a foundation started by the Honorable Maria Brown Bird Brown, that was supposed to be an empowerment fund for young people.
Right.
And the question that was asked by the person on Facebook is a pertinent question. I am all for the empowerment of women. And I was happy when I heard that the Honorable Maria Brown was putting forward this fund.
Right.
The husband subsequently came and told us, oh, we closed down the fund because too many nasty things were being said. So what has become of those funds, and who are some of those women who would have benefited from the funds? Come forward so we can see how a UPP administration can help you to take your dreams further.
Right.
Because what has become of those funds?
Precisely.
You know, Brother Chaku. Yes.
Listen, the Prime Minister has been very public about what he wants his ministers to do.
Yes.
And I want to conclude that if he is encouraging his ministers to get involved in a particular course of conduct, that he himself must be involved in that course of conduct. And we have seen time and time again that there are questionable expenses by the government, and the government's failure to account to you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, about the spending of your money. You refer to Share Corporation and the government building that was sold to her for a particular purpose. And that purpose was to be community development.
Correct.
And that property sold to her by the cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda, your property for community development, to help the growth and development of your people. But instead, we see a radio station, we see a restaurant, we see a nightclub. And then rather recently, the Honorable Jamal Pringle forced the Prime Minister to acknowledge that he was paying rent. Well, he said he was paying rent. But who he was paying it to? His family?
Yes.
They seems to be taking us for granted. And they have gotten away with it so far. And the time has come for we, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, to say enough has become too much. It's time for a change, and the UPP is the right choice.
Right. This pandemic would have also forced a lot of people to go into opening small businesses. And these small businesses would have been stifled as well too because of these hard times, because of these cost of livings, because of all the custom duties like we would have mentioned. And the education unto us to the incentives that the UPP would have put in place during their tenure, the education on that has dwindled. No one knows what incentives they can get as a small business owner. No one knows what needs to be done. All the young farmers, they need some attention too. I have a friend, his name is Amani. He was telling me he wants to become, he's a farmer right now. But where he got to was all on his own. There was no guidance. They were telling him to go to this place, go to this extension division, go to that extension division. What I'm trying to make here, it's too difficult for our young people to go and chase their dreams. It's too difficult for our young people to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Young people, it's time to make that change. The United Progressive Party has a track record of sending youth overseas to develop their brains and bringing them back here to develop Antigua and Barbuda.
And you see, this government talks a good talk when they talk about entrepreneurship and assisting our young people with entrepreneurship. UPP showed how it was done.
Right.
I can vividly remember, I don't remember the names of the individuals involved, but there were some young farmers, as you said, farmers. It brought back a memory to me where I think they were into onion production. And the UPP, Chaku, I don't know if you remember, the UPP was able to take them together so that they were able to export onion into Antigua. And that was only one success story out of the many stories that we had. We had a plan for entrepreneurship, young entrepreneurs in this country. Right. We had an EDF now established, and we're told for over nearly 5 years or so, there has been so little drawdown. What does that mean for giving finance to our young entrepreneurs so they can go out there and become self-sustaining and help to create employment for fellow young people in our economy? It's a good talk shop. But we say the UPP showed how it was done, and we will show you again how it ought to be done. But
and when we speak of employment, we cannot forget that getting jobs is a big issue in Antigua and Barbuda today. The unemployment is so high that I don't understand how the government has the nerves to speak of it's doing things for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, let alone our young people. But you see, when the United Progressive Party speaks about jobs or speak about employment, central to that is self-employment, entrepreneurship. We are not only advocating foreign investment to provide us with jobs. We are talking about investing in our young people who have their ideas. Some have some very novel ideas. All they need is the guidance and the financial assistance. And we started such a program, and we will continue such a program. There was this program at Antigua and Barbuda Development Bank, where the party has set aside a few $1 million. So any young person wanted to start a business, they were required to have a business plan to show that they have done the research that the business may be viable. And what they got was the kind of assistance that would bring their ideas to fruition. And the financial assistance was there. The Antigua Labour Party, I would just ask you, or the young guy who is around on social media, if you could point us to any project that the Antigua Labour Party has started since 2014, that we can say at least they got this one right. Not in investment, not in investing in our young people, not providing opportunities for our young people, not creating the environment that is required for economic development. No, this government throws its hands in the air every time there's a problem, except when it is increasing their wealth and creatively enriching themselves. The only way to stop that is to vote the United Progressive Party, and in St. Philip South, vote for Sherfield Bowen.
Right.
He is the right choice. Sherfield Bowen is from your community, a young man. And we cannot forget though, even though Sherfield Bowen ran with the Labour Party in 1999 and won, by 2001,
oh yes, he
was gone. And he saw
the true picture.
Absolutely. And bear in mind that when the former Prime Minister had some problems,
yes,
Sherfield Bowen simply said, Mr. Prime Minister, step aside until those investigations are completed. You know what was his reward? A threat in Parliament to thump him in his mouth.
And I think Brother Sherfield has been a marksman since then.
And since then. So we're talking about Sherfield Bowen, although he was on the ALP ticket in 1999. Bear in mind also that when Brother Sherfield came home in 1999 for the elections, he wasn't living in Antigua for any period of time. So he actually did not know what he was getting into. And once he found that out, there we see him move away from the Antigua Labour Party. He's from among you. He understood. When water come off up here, Sherfield Bowen water is off too.
Yes.
When electricity come off in St. Philip South, Sherfield Bowen electricity is off too. Y'all go to the same shop, the same high prices. He knows the community. And that's why we are insisting that we look carefully at the candidates. Look carefully at the candidates. Look at those who have demonstrated their love for you, the people, and their desire to give service. I can tell you, even before Sherfield Bowen became a candidate, persons living in this area that got into trouble, Sherfield was their attorney. One day I turned to him and said, Sherfield, give me some to work from up there now. He said, I can give, can I get it paid? And this is the kind of thing we see.
Yes. But Brother Chaku, the issue of voter registration seems to be generating some great discussion on Facebook. And I'm going to throw you two quick questions because I know time is quickly going. One person said, I am registered, but I have not received my voter's card as yet, and I'm now in New York. And another person is asking, what if your name is not on the list? So I'm going to ask you the two questions in one.
There are two things. Once you have registered and you have a voter registration card, the practice is not to give anyone else your voter registration card. But once you return home, you will get your voter registration card. And if when you show up, they say they can't find it, and election day is here, they are obligated by law to give you a temporary card so that you can vote. Now, the second question, and when I heard Sister Sean had pointed out to go to the UPP page, where you'll find the list, it's important you look and see your name is on the list.
Yes.
Because once you're registered, your name should be on the list. And we have seen situations, the list comes out twice a year, June 30th and July 31st. Your name may be on the June list, December 31st. Your name may be on the June list, and then the December list, you don't see your name. but you know you're registered, I urge you to call the UPP office right away. Because times there are claims and objections, and for objections your name may be removed, or there could be a typographical error, there could be a glitch in printing the list, right? But if you have your voter registration card and your name doesn't appear on the list, you still...
Bless you.
The country. Your name appears... No, once you have your voter registration card and your name is not on the list, we will ensure you vote.
Okay.
Because you would not have received a voter registration card, and the voter registration would have had a number that we can compare it.
Correct.
But we urge you, those of you who have not registered, register tomorrow. It's not too late. And sometime our young people, maybe when I was young, that's many moons ago, I used to feel by one vote not going to make a difference. Yes. It does make a difference. Every single
good
vote
example.
counts.
Yes.
Every single vote counts. In this very constituency, I told you earlier, in the 1976 general elections, Reuben Harris won by 2 votes.
Yes.
2. Just 2018, Chester Hughes lost by 20 votes.
Yes.
So every single vote counts, and it's not too late. Once you're registered, they must provide a period for claims and objections. Yes. But that period is usually a 6 to 8 week period.
Chaku, I'm going to ask you that you take up this on face-to-face one of these days, because we're way out of time. Okay. And I know Dr. Manso is going to tell me I have 2 minutes left. So Trey, I'm going to give you a minute. Chaku, I'm going to give you the minutes. And the next 5 minutes, I will wrap up. Your word to the young people as we prepare for the upcoming general elections. Yes. Right, yes.
Who are being made aware this decision. Represents the people of this side.
And just to bring it home, Rai Benjamin is a product of Newfield Village, which is a neighboring village. Yes.
So Rai Benjamin is a product of the Newfield Village. So young people, I'm saying this to you now. I'm sure there are at least 50 young people in this constituency who are talented, not only in sports, educationally, and those talents are being wasted. Young people, you know that you have the potential. You know you have your dreams to chase, your dreams to accomplish. But what is this administration doing to aid you? What is this administration doing to help you make a better future for yourself? As far as we can see, they're enriching themselves. They're paying attention to themselves. They're paying attention to their own children. But what about us? What about us whose parents aren't politicians, whose parents aren't in this administration? We're appealing to you to vote. And all the people of St. Philip South who have lost their jobs in the pandemic, who have had to close down businesses and were unable to provide for them. I'm asking you to come out and vote so that the United Progressive Party can recover this economy and bring cost of living down and make life easier for all of us.
Okay. Brother Chaku,
I would simply say that I endorse everything Brother Che Joseph has just said. Everything. And I urge you to do it for yourselves. Do it for your children. Do it for the future. Do it for Antigua and Barbuda. The UPP, the right choice.
And the right choice it is, the United Progressive Party, under the leadership of Harold Lovell. We are seeking to see if we can get all 16, we'll be grateful. But people of Antigua and Barbuda living here and abroad, we're asking you to be part of this redemption with us. We are the right choice. The people of St. Philip South, we're in your homes this evening. Brother Sherfield Bowen is the right choice for St. Philip South. And United Progressive Party, the right choice for Antigua and Barbuda. We're going over now to the rally. We want to thank you so very much for being part of our panel discussion this evening. Those of you who joined us on Progressive 107.3 FM, or you joined us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever platform, we thank you so very much. And we ask you to stay tuned. The party just turn up, as the young people will say, as we get ready to hand over to the rally where another round of fiery speeches will be coming from the members of our team to redeem. So on behalf of my fellow panelists, Brother Chaku Simister and Brother Trey Joseph, I'm Sean Nicholas saying much love to all you beautiful people, all you beautiful people. UPP, the right choice. We love you all. Good night.
We know him.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for the right rhythm. The right rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's the right rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, my hard skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you now to just get your minds in a frame of reverence as we talk to God. Let us pray. Our eternal and everlasting Father, we come to you even now. We want to thank you for being a loving God, for being a gracious God. We thank you, Lord, for traveling mercies here. We pray as we are about to deliver this meeting, Lord, we pray that it will meet your divine approval. We pray, Lord, that you may beat back the forces of the enemy. I pray you will be with the speaker, that the words they may bring forth to this nation this evening, Lord, that it may be words of comfort, words of hope. Father, we pray that as we continue, Lord, to, as it were, Lord, to just to hope, that hope that we have, Lord, for that day when this nation will be redeemed. We thank you for the redeemed team, the team that will deliver this nation out of the hands of the wicked Lord, the team, the right choice for Antigua and Barbuda. We pray for our political leader. We pray, oh Lord, for all the candidates. We pray for the members of the campaign team, Lord. We pray for our branch members. We pray, oh Lord, that as we go out into the various communities, that you may give us the right words to say to the electorate. Father, this evening, we have gathered here for this rally. We come, Lord, with expectation. We come expecting a word that would give us hope to carry on until that day. Until that day. Until that day when victory will be ours. Until that day when this nation will return into the hands of the United Progressive Party, when we can say as a people, as a nation, free at last, the people of Antigua, we are free at last. Now, Father, we present the rest of this evening's proceedings into your care and your keeping. In Jesus' name, amen.
Just stop and say you're going the wrong way. You got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine a light for everyone to see. If you try a little kindness,
Freetown, let me hear those horns out there. Let me hear those horns out there. Are you ready, UPP myself? Let me hear those horns.
If I had a wings like a dove,
UPP, UPP,
fly away.
Oh yes, my people, we're here. Freetown, we are here.
If I had a wings like a dove,
oh yes, let me see those flags. Let me see those flags. Let me tell you something. I ain't like the freedom. Oh yes, my people, we're here to have a wonderful time tonight.
I met a brother the other day. I gave him my right hand.
If you believe in this music, let me see your hands in the air.
You call that religion? Oh no. You call that religion?
Oh yes, my people.
No, no. You scandalize my name. This train is our holy friend. This train is our holy friend.
I'm not hearing those horns, and I'm not hearing the horns. Let's wake the community up, let them feel our presence here tonight. Freetown, we're here.
This train, it is bound for glory. This train is bound for glory. This train is bound for glory. You can't do nothing but the pure and the holy.
Oh yes, Lord. Thank you. Freetown. Freetown. UPP myself. Well, you know, I wasn't able to do the Bowlands meeting because my voice was gone.
But I had to be here tonight, and let me tell you something. Thanks to Dr. Manso and all the doctors, look, they come to me the next day with all kind of concoction and medication and say, you have to get ready. You know, we have the doctors in this party making sure every one of us fit like a fiddle, because this campaign is going to be one to win. If you agree we're going to win, let me hear those odds. Now tonight, we come to Freetown to deal with one-term Western. We are here to deal with one-term Western. Because, you know, a lot of people meet me. I ran here last time, and they meet me and they say, boy, sorry. Oh, sorry, I'll make a mistake. Let me say to you, Freetown, once bitten, twice shy. Come next election, it's UPP all the way. We ain't taking no chances. We ain't taking no prisoners. We're going to make sure Sherfield Bowen is elected as the next representative for this area. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that the current representative is so absent, they had to show him the way to Freetown when he come into a certain funeral. He had to drive in the Prime Minister's motorcade because he didn't know how to find Freetown. Brothers and sisters, we have an election to win. We have an election to win. And this campaign is not just about winning for your candidate. It's about saving Antigua and Barbuda. Today, I saw one of the most, look, something wrong with our Prime Minister. Because the only thing he can talk about is millions and how much a million and million and million. Something wrong with he. Because look, brothers and sisters, today, all of a sudden, somebody said they're going to deposit 50 million for Cedar Valley Golf Course. What kind of craziness is that? What is the plan? They're going to deposit, but nobody knows what the plan be. I'm wondering if it's wash, they're trying to wash money in Antigua. Mind another scandal will come out of that, you know. And before I go any further, I want to say, on behalf of our party, our condolence to the Lee family here in Freetown and the Watley family. Brother Lee was a strong guardian of the sun, strong supporter of our party. And let me tell you this, I want you to help to lift that family tonight by honking your horns in solidarity and sympathy to the Lee family. Sister Lee, we are with you in this your hour of need by your party. Freetown, we are with you because Brother Lee was one of those pillars in Freetown. Now, brothers and sisters, you would have heard our leader and the next Prime Minister speak about the whole question of minimum wage. I remember what happened after. Cutie so shame. He go appoint committee and he don't even know what to do because he's not accustomed to doing it. You know what our leader is doing? He is now showing this country once again what real leadership is all about and caring for poor people is all about. The leader is here. Let him feel your presence. Make some noise, brothers and sisters. Tonight, I am just cheering. and I start to get a little hot. But I'm going to come back to the mic from time to time. So I'm going to bring on my first speaker. Brothers and sisters, he is one of the future prospects of this party and will be going to Parliament to represent the constituency of All Saints West. Put your hands together for Brother Anthony Smith.
What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to vote. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you
Greetings to the wonderful people of All Saints West, St. Philip South, and to the lovely people of Antigua and Barbuda. Greetings to the political leader of the United Progressive Party and the future Prime Minister of this country, the Honorable Harold Lovell. He's an excellent lawyer, and he's a man that loves his people. He's an astute finance minister. He better than them. They have two of them put together now, and they can't even come to half of the man that he was. So big up yourself, political leader. You're better than them. But we're in Freetown, so you know, special greetings must go out to the next representative of St. Philip South. That is my brother, Sherfield Bowen, your representative. Let me hear the horns for brother Sherfield Bowen. Brother Bowen is the right choice. He's a good man, people. I can tell you this. He's also a brilliant man. I'll let you in on a little secret. This is his inside name. When we have in candidates meeting, we call him Solomon, a wise man. Anytime Brother Bowen is speaking, he is always on the ball, people. And this man has spent his life looking after the people in these communities in his constituency. My people, he is the right choice. So it's time to get rid of this joke then called Western. They say wise man come from east. So if Param people don't want him, where are we going with him in Freetown and Bethesda and St. Philip's? Lennox Western has to go. He talk a good talk, but he does nothing for poor people in this country. He had the highest public servant position in Antigua and Barbuda, and he's never empowered his people from Param. And you think he's going to empower you good people? What you want to do, just say, move some seaweed sargassum from Half Moon Bay and Red Hill Beach? That is all Lennox Western thinks of the people of St. Philip's. People, you deserve better than that. It's time to get rid of that renegade. This operation is to save Antigua and Barbuda from this corrupt and wicked party. And they themselves say they corrupt. Western said they corrupt. He said they're burning millions down in national housing. Millions. But they want to come and try to fool us. Lennox say Barrett now have 14 hotels with the help of Robin. That's what he say. And he say he came here with an empty briefcase and a newspaper. So they come with nothing. And now they have 14 hotels. But what does the people of Antigua have? Their friends and phonies get all the stimulus and all the assistance. And they give us nothing. This government say you don't deserve a stimulus in COVID time. But Barrett and with the help of Robin, they get all the tax concessions. Till now he gone in agriculture for compete with our local farmers. The hotel, Barrett hotels them have their own tour boats. they own entertainment, they own jeep tours. Those are things that the locals used to do. Now everything in-house. The poor man can't even get for sale 2 fish and some vegetables. And people, Lennox Western and them, they're okay with that. Antiguans and Barbudans, we deserve better. Our country is broken, but we are going to fix it. The UPP will fix it. When they come to talk to us, they come with the fancy words. When you listen to them, you hear GDP, you hear growth points, you hear financial deficit, you hear debt to GDP ratio, you hear budget, you hear percentile, all fancy terms. That's what they come to us with, telling us that our country running good. It's lie them a tell. Our country not running good. How our country running good when hospital not on shit? Our garbage man cannot get pay. Our teachers and our nurses can't get pay. But they have plenty fancy talk because it's self-enrich. So that's why they spend 70 million plus on e-books. They took their share. They enrich themselves. Then they say a party give them money. Politics is their business and their business is politics. So it can't work so. It cannot work so. My people, this government doesn't love us. Remember now, they tear gas our children and our elderly for a peaceful march. Because they don't care about us. But now they're acting like they do because they want our vote. Antiguans will not let that stand. This wicked government lied to us. They took our freedom of choice. They said no one would be forced. Then we got the ultimatum. Vaccinate or starve. Vaccinate or get out of our schools. Vaccinate or die. People, that is not love. You don't love people and threaten their survival. And we will not vote for this wicked ALP government ever again. People of Antigua, I just want us to understand this. You see, small economies like ours, there's enough money circulating that we can all live a healthy and prosperous life. But if the greedy politicians want to take all government resources and enrich themselves, then some of us will struggle. Some of us will starve. And that is the Antigua we have now. They living good. And then they want to come give us like noodles and sardine. It's wrong. And labor rights. This is not what you signed up for. You can't support one family and all the government ministers alone making monies in this country off of our resources. That is corruption. Make the change. Make the right choice and vote for the United Progressive Party. They're now borrowing from investors, and that is the worst position they can put us in as a people. This is not fair, Mr. Prime Minister. You're putting the people of this country in a precarious position of subservience, and it is wrong. And you also need to look at the physical borrowing that people have to do in this nation just to survive and eat. Hey, they're so wicked, right? They don't give the people a stimulus, and then they're still allowing our people just to eat, borrowing monies from microfinance companies at interest rates of 35%. This is wrong. You're breaking the backs of our people. But Antigua and Barbuda, don't give up hope. You know why? Because help is on the way. A people-first government is on the way. The United Progressive Party is on the way. Employment opportunities are coming. Consistent running water is coming. Your early pension payment is coming. The United Progressive Party is committed to seeing good governance in this country. And we are going to cut out all these self-enrichment policies and focus on people enrichment policies. So my people, I say here again, there is no other choice but the United Progressive Party, the political party to build Antigua and Barbuda back before it's too late. So I say again, on election day, Sherfield Bowen is the right choice. Anthony Smith is the right choice. Harold Lovell is the right choice. Vote for the United Progressive Party, the right choice. Thank you, good night, and I love you.
What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to vote. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, the rising sun, 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 sun.
What time it is? What time it is? What time it is?
What time is it, people?
What time it is?
I love those flags, you know. That look like St. George's Posse. Let me see those flags, St. George's. Oh, Lord, they're ready in St. George's. They're ready.
Now is the time to reduce the tax. Now is the time for all to stop. This is the time we're not giving up.
So let's all join together.
And we're going to move right along, brothers and sisters. We are wasting no time here tonight. We are wasting no time here tonight. We're moving from All Saints West, and we're going to St. Philip's North for Brother Alex Brown. Make some noise for Brother Alex Brown. He's going to run Robin out of town.
What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to vote. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action.
UPP massive. Freetown massive. Well, look up, beautiful people. St. Philip South, your neighbor from in the north is in the house. Let me bring greetings from all the people in St. Philip's North. Let me also big up all my constituents, those who are here and those who are listening and viewing. Welcome. Remember that this time around in St. Philip's North, we're voting Alex Brown. Let me thank everyone here tonight, especially those who have journeyed to be here in Freetown from far. My grandmother used to say, well, out your fall. I'm here tonight in support of the real deal. I'm here tonight in support of my brother Sherfield. I'm here tonight standing in solidarity with Howard Lovell and the entire team with him. We are the right choice. Look, when we done with this rice pudding man, he gonna be silent as a lamb. After decades of neglect, I'm going to switch to my constituency. After decades of neglect, St. Philip's North is poised for greatness. After 46 years of nothingness, we are about to see a revolution in education, in sports, in culture. We have now realized that nothing comes from nothing, and nothing ever could. So to reverse the curse of nothing, we can just reverse Robin Yearwood. These three pillars, education, sports, and culture, will be our focus as our people empowerment programs take center stage. Our skilled workmen will have the opportunity to be internationally certified. Our entrepreneurs will be given support so they can prosper. And we will focus on scholarships for the young and the young at heart. The sporting world has changed, and we will position our athletes so that they can capitalize on the abundance of opportunities that are out there. Look, there is not a single stand or bathroom facility in any of the sporting complexes in St. Philip's North, if we can call them that. There is not a single community-based center for learning with internet access in St. Philip's North. There is not a single center geared towards advancement of culture. We are going to change that. The United Progressive Party will change that. Can you imagine that Darrell Matthew had the audacity to be talking about Karen's achievement in netball? Darrell, you're in charge of sports, but just take a look at the Seaton Sports Complex, where workmen who were fixing the road dump all the rubbish on the road of the road in there. Then go over Newfield and look at that complex. You know, in spite of the Labour administration's lack of care, we have produced athletes the likes of King Ben, straight out of Newfield. We produce the likes of Jungle Baltimore, may God rest his soul, continue with his soul. Sprocket Roberts, C.J. Green, Devon Thomas, straight out of Willikes. We produce the likes of Karen and Shanette, straight out of Seaton. We produce Cactus Spencer, straight out of Glanvilles. And there's more, don't let me continue. And if I have to talk about our educators, I will be here all night. In spite of the lack of support, we are making contributions island-wide. Imagine if they had the support. We in the United Progressive Party are a people-centered party. We put people first. We will not allow a hard-working landscaper to go unpaid for 23 weeks. And then APU have the heart to disconnect the man electricity. What a wicked set of people. We will not allow our nurses and doctors to work in a brand new clinic that has very little equipment. And the most painful thing at all, no water. Glanville's polyclinic has been closed for days because of no water. Well, they say water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Obed! Poor granny, poor papi, look, I want to read you something I'm going to get today, this afternoon. And you're going to hear a lie. Emergency maintenance will be carried out at Crab's reverse osmosis plant today, Thursday, 24th February. As a consequence, this will impact distribution of water to the communities that are supplied from this source for the next 72 hours. And the affected areas is all over Antigua. So it means that if you don't get no water for the last week, you still not get none. Just yesterday, I was talking to a school teacher in my constituency. The poor woman was in tears. Robin, you have people bawling for something that the World Health Organization says is a basic human right. Robin, we as a people, we're going to write the WHO and let them know what is going on in Antigua under your stewardship. You know, another woman last night afraid to go to church because she's afraid that if she go, water will come out and come out before she come back. Look, Robin, you are affecting people's hygiene. You are affecting people's love life. You're affecting people's mental state. And now you're affecting people's ability to serve the Lord. And you haven't job up to now. What could have caused this? 8 years ago, let me tell you about that. You promised water in 14 days. And just last week, 8 days ago, you promised more water. Now today, you say, oh, we now get none. And you have the gall and the gumption to want to come to us to vote for you again? You sure you're born from a mother? Because a man born from a woman can't be so wicked. Look, even your colleagues now have water truck delivering water to their constituents. Well, Chet, all the Greens in Bethesda and Crystal Hill and Freetown and Wilkins, they want water too, so check them out. If that is not an indictment on your stewardship or lack thereof, I don't know what is. Whole country under siege because of you. Look, I'm going to say this. Your elderly gentleman, just go in peace. Go peacefully before you are pushed. Because if me have to push you, nobody hold me. Nobody hold me. And leg on my hand. Leg on my hand. Okay, leg on my hand, friends. Tell them leg on my hand. Because, friends, come up here, man. Come up here. Come up here. Nobody hold me. Nobody hold me. Nobody hold me. Let me come to football man. Nobody hold me. Nobody hold me. Nobody hold me. Let me come to football man. Hey, Uncle. Hey, Robin. Hey, Uncle. Robin. Hey, Uncle. Come here, Robin. You don't put your foot. Somebody pass the football. Wipe out the you. Put your mood. You must have been from me. One put it never me. But I'm gonna spy you. I do not spy you. That's the Jesus spy you. I saw you to spy you. Get this. Get that. Get this. Get that. Get this. Get that. Look a blow. Look, let me tell you all it's not trouble. Leave him to me. This time around, leave him to me. Allah in a bang you. Remember, he's not so young. Leave him to me. Look, in St. Philip South, Sherfield is the real deal. Sherfield is the real deal. Let me hear your hands. And in St. Philip's North, this time around, this time around, we're done with that. We're done with that. We're voting Alex Brown until I come again. Thank you all very much. From St. Philip's North to South. This time around, we're voting Brown. And brothers and sisters, you know, we're going to continue. Let me feel the energy, man. Let me feel the energy. Let me feel it. Let the people who stay home feel that their presence is not theirs. Let me make some noise. Now is the time. UPP time. UPP time. And now we're going south. We're going round south. Welcome, brother Cartwright Marshall. What time it is now? Now is the time for action. What time it is now? What time it is now? What time it is now? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start a vote. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action.
So let's all join together as one. If you
Good night, good people of Antigua and Barbuda. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening to lend support to a brother, Brother Sherfield Bowen. I am convinced, I am convicted that after the next election, I will be sitting next to my good brother and the other members of the United Progressive Party, the rescue team, as we start that process of transforming Antigua and Barbuda once again. As we continue this process of delivering hope and restoring pride to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. Brothers and sisters, there's an old African proverb, where you sit when you're old shows where you stood in youth. This saying is very profound. It reminds me of a famous saying by a Caribbean revolutionary, Frantz Fanon. And according to Fanon, he says, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. And so this evening, brothers and sisters, with your permission, I want to spend the few minutes that is allotted to me to speak to the young people of Antigua and Barbuda. And so my question to the young people of this nation is, where do you stand at this critical period in our nation history, when our people are facing the most cruel and barbaric moment in the nation's history? Where do you stand? Do you stand at the sideline and do nothing? Or are you willing to stand in line and defend the people of Antigua and Barbuda and our nation? Where do you stand, young people? There is no doubt that our country needs all of us, young and old, male and female. Our country needs us now more than ever. I would like to tell you a little story that someone reminded me just recently. There was this young lady, young girl, just finished secondary school. And she was asked, are you going to vote in the next election? And she said yes. And then another question was posed to her, which political organization will you vote for? And her simple answer was the United Progressive Party. She was then asked, why will you vote for the UPP? She said, I benefit from the school meal programs. I benefit from the uniform program. And so I have a duty and a responsibility as a young person in this country to vote for the United Progressive Party. And so I am saying to the young people of this country that you have that patriotic duty. Your responsibility to the people of Antigua and Barbuda is to vote for the United Progressive Party so that we can redeem this small but beautiful nation of Antigua and Barbuda. And that reminds me of some words by our esteemed political leader, Brother Harold Lovell. He penned these words in the manifesto during the last election. He said, Antiguans and Barbudans, your lives and your livelihood and this country's future are in your hands. On the left is hopelessness. On the right is hope, happiness, opportunity, prosperity, and empowerment. That is what the United Progressive Party will do to the young people of Antigua and Barbuda. So young people, we know that you are the leaders of tomorrow. And so you therefore have that responsibility now more than ever to ensure that Antigua and Barbuda is in safe hands. And the only safe hands that this country can be in is when you vote for the United Progressive Party. So remember, refusing to register and to vote is not a rebellion. It is a surrender. And we know what the slogan is. No retreat, no surrender. The battle cry must be no retreat, no surrender. Some four decades ago, I faced the same challenge that young people are facing today. And I answered that call. I answered that duty, that responsibility to stand up and to fight on behalf of the ordinary people of Antigua and Barbuda. And I am calling on the young people today to do likewise, because you must be the change agent. You must bring forth change to Antigua and Barbuda so that we can empower our nation. Finally, I would like to tell you a story about a young man from the South. After the election in 2004, I was called by a sister in the Erlins community, and she said, there is a young man in Erlins who is extremely bright. And she was fearful that that young man, if he did not receive employment opportunities, would start to lime on the street side. And so I called that young man. I asked him a number of questions, took all the details, and fortunately for him and others, at least 3 weeks after, Brother Hilson Baptist called, because he was in the Ministry of Tourism and Foreign Affairs with Brother Harold Lovell. And he said, I am looking for 3 young persons from the constituency to work at the Ministry of Tourism. So we sent the young brother and 2 other females. They went to the Ministry of Tourism. But Mr. Blair, the young person that I'm talking about, he worked in the Ministry of Tourism for some time, and fortunately, he received a scholarship to go overseas to study. He returned to the ministry, but later in life, he decided that he wanted to further his education. So he applied to do a master's degree. But his presentation, his outlook, and his grades at university were so good that he received a full scholarship to do a PhD. I am saying to the young people of Antigua and Barbuda that there are many, many hundreds of young people like my good brother out there, and we have to provide the opportunities for them. The United Progressive Party provided that opportunity in the past and will do so in the future. So there is no other choice, young people, but to support all the UPP candidates throughout the length and breadth of Antigua and Barbuda, because UPP is the right choice. Harold Lovell is the man to lead Antigua and Barbuda, and the Redeem team will dare to ensure that we provide quality education, quality service, because our mantra is service to people rather than the ability to enrich yourself. That is the process, and that is what we're doing. So I would like to say to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, forward ever, backward never. United Progressive Party, the right choice. Good night.
Everybody, jump it up together, jump it up together, get up, mash it up together, 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 get up, wave it up together, wave it up together, get up, jump it up together. Hey, we don't see skin, we don't see color, we see strength, we see power, we don't see race, one or the other, one see is freedom.
Oh yes, man.
right, people, we're going to move right along. But hold it down, Bones. Hold it down, Bones. Hold it down, Bones. Let me say this. I want to call on the government of Antigua and Barbuda tonight to pay the college in Jamaica so those young seafarers that went to Jamaica to study and then home and can't get a degree can get a degree. We have a bunch of Marine students that went to Jamaica. They study and now they're home because the government default on paying their tuition. What a thing. What a thing. Just this week I spoke to one of them and he now working because he can't get a degree and the Port Authority now hire him. We're going to move right along. We're going to move right along. We're going to move right along. And we're moving from St. Mary's South. And we're going to St. Peter's. Welcome, Brother Siobhan Harriet. Let me see those flags. Let me hear those horns. Look, y'all, let's sniff it. Let me see you move around. Come on, let me feel you. Let me feel you.
If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, the rising sun, 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 sun. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to build the nation.
Good night, Antigua and Barbuda. Good night, St. Philip South. Good night to the people of St. Peter. And a special good night to our political leader, Mr. Howard Lovell. We are gathered here together as a united family, once again to talk about the issues affecting our nation in Antigua and Barbuda. As a representative of any constituency, the MP is tasked with the responsibility of advocating for his constituents. Be of good standards, be respectful, genuine, and honest. However, in the constituency of St. Peter, we have seen for far too long now that the representative and the current administration cares no at all about the St. Peter people. An MP should be easily contacted, be visible before and after elections, and even on non-campaign days, go out in the constituency just to show you care. I asked the wonderful people of St. Peter, is this the case now? The answer was a resounding no. This simply indicates that this administration shouldn't be given a next chance to stop the process in Antigua and Barbuda and in St. Peter. With Siobhan Harriet as your representative, with me as your humble servant, I am prepared to go the extra mile for you because UPP is the right team and the right choice. Leaders instill hope for the people. Positive leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. And this is what I am tasked with and prepared to do for the people of St. Peter. We will be working together as a team to get the job done. In the constituency of St. Peter, I am deeply saddened and troubled by two things I will share with you tonight. The first thing is lack of representation, and the second one is insufficient healthcare access. Lack of representation is what this government is famously known for, so I don't need to say anymore. In the healthcare system, St. Peter currently offers only one clinic. That clinic is in the Pound Village, and by all reports, that clinic is in a state of bother. How can we have a clinic that the majority of the constituency goes to, and yet still our nurses have inadequate supplies to do their duties? How can we have healthcare facilities leaking when it rains, and nurses having to get buckets to catch water so it doesn't make a big mess?
Mr. Health Minister, let me bring it to your attention again. There is a clinic in the PS village. Please send a team up there to see what the issue is and get the clinic functional again. Our elderly people deserve better. The people of St. Peter deserve better. I have 2 plans for my constituency that I'll share with you tonight. The first one will be teaching real-life skills. The second one is substantial infrastructure. And the third one will be technology. In the St. Peter constituency, we'll be having a workers program, which will be mainly centered about students who are not academically astute. We will be teaching real-life skills like welding, farming, landscaping, steel bending, fishing, and other activities to get the students well equipped for real-life opportunities. After completing the course, each individual will be given a certificate, and if they so desire, they will be given financial assistance to start their new businesses as entrepreneurs in society. This program, however, will not only serve as an educational basis. However, it will serve as a crime stopper. It will reduce the crime rates in the constituency of St. Peter and also in Antigua and Barbuda. The UPP administration, we cater for everyone, regardless of political affiliation, because we are the right team and the right choice. In our constituency in St. Peter, for far too long now, we have been neglected by this representative and this administration, and that must come to an end. In different areas of the constituency, mainly in Lightfoot, Gunchops, and Parham, and even in North Sound, the only thing that has changed from 10 to 15 years ago is houses. But wait, how can we have state-of-the-art homes in areas that are full with bush? How can we have homeowners spending serious monies on their respectable properties, and when it rains, they can't leave home to go to work or take their kids to school? The people of St. Peter deserve better. Far too long now, we are crying. And I'm here tonight to tell you, the people, under UPP government, with Tavon Harriet as your representative, your sitting MP, that will change because we are the right team and the right choice. In the village of Parham, a community I hold close to my heart, I have serious plans to transform that community. The Parham village have the space. We sit nicely on the waterfront, and we now have someone who cares about the constituency and the people. We will work together to elevate this constituency. The marketplace in Parham has the potential to seriously rival the public market in St. John's. We have many farmers in the constituency who could be ideally placed at the Parham market, selling their fruits, vegetables, and handmade items. This could serve as a lucrative opportunity for not only the people of the constituency, but the people of Antigua and Barbuda. In these modern times, since COVID has been around, for a long period now, technology has been the most effective way to communicate. In my constituency, I have a verbal agreement with many of the communities to create WhatsApp chat groups in different various areas, so we can serve as a critical tool that needs to be done to improve the area in the constituency. I have verbal agreement with many of them that not only to improve the community, but to uplift the people in the area. As the MP in waiting, I've made a commitment to meet quarterly with those community groups, whether it be Zoom or any other forum, so that we could learn and listen to improve the area of St. Peter. As a sportsman, it gives me no joy at all to talk about sports in this country. Sports on a whole needs serious attention and improvement. What we have presently can be considered as sport deterioration. We have no state-of-the-art facilities and elite athletes fighting the government for financial assistance. This clearly shows that this administration has been failing us repeatedly. There's no system in schools where we identify elite talents at an early age, and no programs to nurture the talent if we so happen to find it. I have already started programs in Param with youngsters from different communities, even outside of St. Peter, with the goal to find early talent and nurture it for the future. A UPP administration will develop programs in St. Peter and throughout Antigua and Barbuda, in which we can harness and develop our young people in the sporting arena. No more are we to accept and be comfortable with our elite athletes having to travel abroad to perfect their skill. We must develop that, and we must do it now. The UPP is the right choice. Sherfield Bowen is the right choice. Tavon Harriet is the right choice. And Antigua and Barbuda, let's vote United Progressive Party. It's the only hope for Antigua and Barbuda. UPP, the right team and the right choice.
Let me tell you something. I want the police to give us a little permission to make sure we can stretch our leg. So if you want to bounce a little, bounce. Oh yes. If the police give us a little permission to bounce a little, it's long time we locked down. So we want bounce a little. Hey, you people massive! Let me feel the bounce.
If we fall out, Brazil we go all out. We were never was the family, them for the sprawl out. Everywhere we crawl out, we ready to
look, it's long time we don't bounce, you know. All road passes! Family! Look at all road people! Freetown passes! Oh, the bouncing here! Officer, give us one little chance of bounce quicker.
It's plenty away, right roll on the 70 away. The band up your best and break them up for the long term, it's not temporary. Hands up, if you're not family, show me your hand, please run away. Don't follow me, cause technically all the way.
Okay, Bowen. Wow. We have to do this a little more after. We have to bounce like a more. No. We're going now to St. Paul. We're going to St. Paul. Welcome, Sister Leon Atel.
What time it is now? Now is it time for action? What time it is now? What time it is now? What time it is now? Now is it time for action? Now is it time to cast your vote? Now is it time to start a vote? Now is it time we bring your hope? Now is it time for action?
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, the rising sun.
What time it is now? What time it is now? What time it is now? Now is it time for action? What time it is now? What time it is now? What time it is now? Now is it time for action? Now is it time to build the nation, to seek for the children education? It's time for a leader.
Good night, St. Philip South. Tonight is a good night, and I'm happy to be here with you. Special good night to all of you who are here on the grounds on one of our virtual platforms. A special good night to Brother Sherfield and his wonderful constituents of St. Philip South. A special shout out to my wonderful constituents of St. Paul's. A special shout out and good night to Team Redeem, the management team, the political leader, Harry Lovell. Good night, everybody. Tonight is a good night. Tonight is a good night. A good night. And I'm happy to be here with you. Over the past week, I've been having some real good conversations with some of the residents of St. Paul. And I want to share some of these with you. Because as we head into an election, we have to be aware of some of these things. And they're wonderful lessons too. There has been a lot of talk about the UPP and what the UPP has done. There is even a run sheet, long, 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 long. And my usual response to this discourse is, look now, even the blind can see. We all live in Antigua and Barbuda. And unless you are blind, live under a rock, or deaf, or just land from some planet, you know what the UPP has done. And you know too well. You know about the school meals program, because the money that you used to spend to buy lunch and snack, you could now save it and put it away for more pressing issues. And if you're a teacher, you know that the children's brain, because it's more nourished, allow them to learn a little more. If you're a pensioner, you know you got way more than you used to get. And the little bit that you're getting now, the more that you're getting now, you could show a little bit more in the collection plate. You could help with the little picnic and them a little bit more. And don't talk about uniform. You think uniform cheap? And so UPP was responsible for us having the good life between 2004 and 2014. International recession notwithstanding. Now, what you don't know is this part. And I've had a conversation quite recently with a very respected, retired public servant, civil servant. And it was about the reputational damage done to Antigua and Barbuda by the Labour Party government. And also the reputational repair undertaken by the UPP in the last administration. And as old people say, only one thing you really have, and is your name. And that goes for countries too. That goes for country too. And so we better take that seriously. We have to protect our name. Now, quite recently, the lady, she said to me, and she pulled me over, and she said, Lord of mercy, I used to feel so shame when I went away to represent Antigua and Barbuda at conferences and meetings. People used to laugh at us. They looked at me with disdain and even pity. And they say, our kind of people in Antigua, your tolerance level too high. Your tolerance level high for stupidness, for bad government and corrupt politicians. And she continued, but when UPP won, all that changed. The people noticed too, and they changed their tune. And I was able to walk into these meetings, head held high, shame gone, and pride come in. And the UPP lost, and the LP back in, and poof, pride gone, and shame come back again. Scandal after scandal. PM a cuss off IMF woman, and then he has a constant spats with his regional colleagues. And so, the people again asking, what happened to Aya Garrett? But it seems that the Garrett them waking up this time, and plenty of them vex. As the saying goes, plenty of them tiff tone vex. They vex about water. They vex about cost of living. They vex about late pension. They vex about lack of opportunities. They vex about giveaway, land giveaway to alien people. They vex about enrichment scheme and ministers getting dirty rich. They vex about poor governance. All you think this easy? Plenty people vex. In fact, just the other day, I went to see a resident. He asked to see me, and I went to see him. And the first thing he said, even before we reached his gap, he said, I go vote for you. Sorry, I have to run. I have to run. Something came up, but I got to tell you, I'm going to vote for you. And as I was about to leave, he looked me again and said, come here. And plenty of them go vote for you too, because plenty of them vex. You're going to get plenty vex vote. And I said, vex vote? I said, vex vote? I said, vex vote? He said, yes, vex vote. Plenty of them vex. Plenty of them vex. And in my usual jovial and frank way, I said to him, me no want no vex vote. A serious vote me want. And we laughed together. Truth be told, though, An election doesn't care what kind of vote. Vex are serious. So just go in the box and make your tick in the UPP box. Harrow Level X. What's X? Pringle X. Marshall X. Potter X. Harriet X. Louis X. Joseph X. Quinn Williams X. Smith X. Brown X. Thomas X. Bowen X. Yes, Bowen X. And yes, Attil X. Tick all of them. X all of them. So by so. X them. That's right. But let me tell you something. Let me address the Vex vote, the issue of the Vex nonetheless. Like I told my resident friend, Vexness just run out. And Vex people just go back. So please, do God bless you. When I make I X, make sure the X mean right. The right choice. The right choice for decency. The right choice for good governance. The right choice for government and a leader that put you first. Not about self-enrichment. The right choice, UPP. And in St. Paul's, we're moving beyond Vex to being reasoned and focused and resolute because we know that we deserve better. And we also know that we cannot get better with who we have now. So in our Vex, we're moving beyond Vex. We understand that ours is the responsibility to develop the community just as we want it. And we believe that we can do this together. So the residents have been huddling and strategizing about a shared vision for our St. Paul as a community that is united, safe, prosperous, and productive. And a community development plan is emerging that emphasizing integration of agriculture and tourism and micro-business and enterprise and sport and folk culture, as well as upgrades in the yachting sector. It necessitates a strengthening of infrastructure to include upgrades in road networks, the modernization of the school plant, the establishment of the polyclinic, yes, that same one is long overdue, and the restoration of heritage sites, all towards making St. Paul a major economic hub, a major contributor to the general national economy. Our community development plan is transformational, and so we hope to facilitate transformation at the lived level, that is transforming lives and transforming communities, providing support for maternal and child health, building capacity across the lifespan, taking care of our young people, children, adults, and elderlies, providing support for local business and entrepreneurs, establishing thriving communities through community management systems, responsible use and management of green and blue spaces to include recreational parks in land and sea, improvement of community health achieved through comprehensive nutrition, sport, and mental health program, improvement in housing, and making provision for residents to own their own homes and have access to land. Now, this is empowerment. This is empowerment. Provision of consistent water. And you can trust the UPP's commitment to improve the water supply through the full engagement of the desalination plant and Pigeon Point, linked through several catchment areas across the community. This is our St. Paul. This is our St. Paul. A St. Paul that is strong, united, and productive. That is our legacy, and that is our choice. So we're going to make that X count for good. Make that X count for UPP. Make that X count for Sherfield Bowen. Make that X count for all Team Redeem. Good night, everybody. Make the right choice.
Marshall, just kidding. 'Cause when we roll, we don't roll alone. So anywhere that we go, you feel come on, run away with me, family.
you back to 2006. Ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. And when I hear certain things, it does make me laugh. Ha ha! For years we were struggling with no hope. With that situation, we could hardly grow. Workers, they could hardly get their pay. Now today it's a different thing, I say. Internationally, we're no longer a laughing stock. Things are being put in place to bring the economy back. The stabilization fund, that is brilliant. Also, the treasury bond, that is brilliant. The alliance with Stanford, that is brilliant. The country moving forward, that is brilliant. Construction is on the rise, I say brilliant. Workers getting paid on time, that is brilliant. The thing is doing to bring the country back. Our national debt is back on track. The way you're handling the country's finance, that is sheer brilliant. Deed and day. Deed and day. It is fun to drive around St. John's with all its lovely sights and its ambience. I say things are improving every day, in spite of what them detractors say. More tourists, more business for our taxis. You can even ask me good friend Friday. Oh yes, check multi-purpose improvements at the craft market. Your government is working hard for the people's benefit. Refurbishing Halbiton, that is brilliant. Completing of most engines, that is brilliant. The multi-purpose car park, that is brilliant. Beautifying country fund, that is brilliant. The new cricket stadium, that is brilliant. Heritage Day, oh what a sight, that is brilliant. I see the pride is back with all Antigans. We are taking our country in our hands. Now I feel so good to walk around St. John with its sheer brilliance. Deed and day. Deed and day. Time to give credit where credit is due, and applaud people for the things they do. Time for us to stop playing politics with all them lies and all them dirty tricks. The nation's future is in our hands. Stop doing the things that will pull it down. Oh my, the country future looks bright, and also our children. Look at all them programs that is helping the poor man. The school meals program, I say, is brilliant. The school uniforms also is brilliant. The Cuban I-Grade program, that is brilliant. The naturalization act, that is election and that is brilliant. The dollar barrel and all that is brilliant. Your plans, programs and policies helping piggy-head people like me. The things they're doing to help the poorer class. Man, it's sheer brilliant. Did I make?
Now is the time. No, the time is no. The time is no. Now is the time to vote. The time is no. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is?
That was Lady Cute. That was Lady Cute. And let me say this. By popular demand, you know, we're just going to warm things up a little bit more. I asked the police for permission to bounce a little bit more because the next batch of speakers going to get this crowd going wild now. So I want you to start to bounce now. Oh, let the music let the people bounce. Let me say this. All road posse here from since 5:30. Where they be? The all road posse from 5:30 to here.
Now is the time to reduce it.
Don't come in this area. You can bounce on the side here. Bounce on the side here. Where those flags from St. George's? Where those flags from St. George's? St. George's, let me see your flags.
Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for
brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters.
Now is the time. Sing it. To go down. Now is the time. Let them hear. To go down.
We're going. We're going. We're going. We're going.
So let's all join together as one.
We're going to St. George's. Welcome, brother Ergonen. What?
What time it is? What time it is?
Oh, yes, my people. I tell you to bounce. Now's the time to bounce. St. George's posse.
Because when we roll, we don't roll alone. Anywhere that we go, you feel I'm moving every with me, family. When we come to we must have fun, turn up those we like everybody. Jump it up together, together, mash it up together, together, wave it up together, jump it up together. We don't see skin, we don't see color, we see strength, we see power, we don't see race, one or the other. Once he is breathing on this earth, he is my brother. Well, even if we fall out, brethren, we go all out. We will never post the family, them for us crawl out. Everywhere we crawl out, we ready to brawl out. Fire burn a friend is family, we ball out. We jump in with this family, with this family. When we come to we must have fun, turn up those we like a hammer. Just everybody, jump it up together, mash it up together, mash it up together.
All right, brothers and sisters, I want you to do me one favor. Do me one favor. While you're bouncing, just put out your arms and tell your neighbor, move over a little bit. Because we want the bouncing space. I want my space to bounce. I want us to bounce in our space. Remember, in front here, keep the camera space empty. Support St. George's, St. George's, St. George's.
We frontin' with we family. With me family. When we come to we must have fun, turn up those we like a hammer. Everybody, jump it up together, mash it up together,
Come in clean. Come in clean. Good night. Good night, my good people. It's a pleasure for me to be here in St. Philip's constituency, St. Philip South, connecting with you and supporting my good brother Sherfield Bowen.
Brother Bowen knows you. He cares about you. And you know that he will give his all to work for you. As the only candidate, when I was in Potters, I was the only candidate who been to Potters School. When I was in Clear Hall, I was the only candidate to be to Clear Hall School. I'm in Freetown. I am the only candidate to ever work a Half Moon Bay. We have them. The Redeemed team is here. It's here to the rescue. Captain Brother Harold Lovell and all the soldiers are here. With you, we are going to chase those greedy ballheads out of town. We have to make sure there's something left for you and your children and your children's children. You heard them last week in Parliament with a grand performance and pretense of that something they call a budget. They took turns grandstanding, showing off, applauding each other, trying to convince the nation of an economic prosperity that you can't see, you can't feel, we have not experienced. The missing in action representative for up here, Chokolongo. Yeah. He gave us the theme for the Labour Party's 2023 election campaign. If you were listening, you would have heard the theme. He kept saying, this is who we are. We did that. This is who we are. Well, tonight, we're going to tell them who they are. We are going to say who they are. They are a government who body slammed the people of this country during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when they were enforcing a no job mandate. You remember that? No education, no attempt at persuasion, no discussion, no compromise with the people, absolutely no choice for the people except take the vaccine or starve. Who they are is a government who on the 8th of August tear gas the people of Antigua and Barbuda who were standing up. They don't believe in democracy. They tear gas the people who are standing up for their rights. That is who they are. They tear gas protesters, picnic, bystanders, even people coming home from work. The fumes reach all up a Grey Hill. Brother Richard, he me down, they fan people too. When the public cried out, oh God, man, are you killer, we? The top dog and all the puppy them, they applauded the police and said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. And as if that not bad enough, the Attorney General, Cutie Benjamin, in this drought-ridden country, where granny can't bed, papi can't bed, some man see water for weeks, before he concentrate and put in water in a pipe, he say he go buy water cannon, find water from where God only knows, to shoot down protesters. That is who they are. Antigua broke bad. Yesterday you heard the news, no fire truck in town. Rather than they spend our money to buy fire trucks to save you, they want to bring in water cannon to shoot you. That is who they are. They are an administration who take set on the parents, turn out picking you out of school because you not take the vaccine. You remember that? Showed up to school and locked the door. If you're not vaccinated, you can't come to school. They denied the children their constitutional right to education if they didn't get vaccinated. And just 2 minutes after many parents reluctantly, prayerfully, and tearfully took them picnic to get vaccinated, they dropped the mandate, saying how they reach herd immunity. They robbed you and your children of your choice and agency over your bodies. They curtail your freedom under an unnecessary and prolonged state of emergency. That is who they are. No subsidy, as many of you saw, reduced earnings and loss of jobs altogether. Small business and sole proprietors went belly up. But the only thing they had to offer you were jabs. Some bags of ramen noodles, some potted meats, some sweet aisle. But remember, you could only get that if you're vaccinated. So unvaccinated people not hungry too? That is who they are. Then you go to the constituency branch office, like the one in Pickers, the one in Potter, and they give you a token voucher. You go supermarket with the voucher. Supermarket turn your back. Supermarket turn your back because the government not pay. When you went to the supermarket, they tell you, only the UPP vouchers accepted here. Only the UPP vouchers accepted here. And they want to compete and compare. But that is who they are. Yes, and it's who we are. Everybody sucks sal except them. A heartless bunch of who sought to, thank you very much, Sean, it's a good thing you're nearby, who sought to declare every death a COVID death. And the survivors' protest, they gave the bereaved 3 days to bury your dead. Family can't fly in from foreign. And if they were fortunate enough to reach in time, you can have to play eeny, meeny, tiny mo to see which one of your family members can go to the funeral. And while you, the poor people, can't go funeral, you're looking down there, see down there rampack when rich people dead. That is who they are. While you're suffering and mourning, Gaston Bongo up on the radio station Saturday after Saturday after Saturday and dribble up on the bereaved people, including my family in Potters. But every disappointment is a blessing. Because that was a strong Labour Party, and boy, no, they wear me clothes more than me. Come in clean! Continue chat, Gaston. Put your foot in your mouth. He has no sympathy, no heart, no leadership. All he wants to put licks in the nigger tail. And when you talk about the pixie, oh, no, she's a lady. Like all the people in the he was a lady too. Or at least a lady in their family. But that is who they are. They are an administration of people authorized by their leaders to creatively enrich themselves. In fact, they seem to only work for themselves to ensure that they widen the wealth gap between us and them. Because that's how they see power. Not for you, not for the people, but unto themselves. And themselves alone. We have a prime minister. He is anything but a servant of the people. He is amongst a long list of hooligans, renegades, and he leading that. He is the leader. He is a man. Hey, he negotiating with a man. Put in the contract that if the man late by 1 day, he have to pay $1,000 US. But that is his personal contract. What about the deals he negotiating on behalf of the people of Antigua and Barbuda? No late fee, no performance clause, nothing. So it's not that this man cannot negotiate. Look at his contract for himself and he picked me. But for us, we get nothing. That is who they are. Pay attention, people. He negotiated a better contract for himself. Antigua can go to hell. Then a concern. Who they are? Boy, let me tell you something. Let me skip over the one day here, sir. Because this one will get me some. You all came here tonight to hear a doc is meant, ain't it? You all came here tonight to hear a bomb drop. It's in my shirt pocket. It's in the shirt pocket. You understand? It's in the shirt pocket. I'll tell you the truth. During my investigation, it's a big document. Big document. Nigga go jail over that document. Nigga go jail over the document. But while I'm investigating the document, it turned me to another corner. And 3 more pop up while I was looking at one. And I figured, if me go talk the one first, then go block the avenue there. So allow me to get the other 2 in my hand. Allow me to get the other 2 in my hand. And then we go take it from there. Fear? You all trust me enough with that? I promise you, me have it. Me give a little tip, one little piece. Find out which ambassador working on behalf of Antigua and Barbuda went and get $950,000 from a certain investor that give nothing to this country. That is enough. That's a shot across the bow. I see you open your mouth wide then is. Find out which ambassador, while working for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, take $950,000 from an investor who has contributed nothing to Antigua and Barbuda. Find out what they used to repay that investor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it there for now. There's a lot more to say, but we have a lot more people coming. Thank you very much for your time. Now you understand who they are. Good night.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
What's the situation? And let me say this, turn it down a little, Bones, turn it down a little. You know when we had the launch, you saw Sister Jackie. She did a wonderful presentation outlining the party's history in government. Then you saw Sister Sean in Clare Hall. At the launch, you also saw Brother Spencer, the former Prime Minister. He's here with us tonight. And you also saw Brother Hilson Baptist, who is here with us tonight. But there was a gentleman, a little whip that was in the crowd that plenty people did not see. And I said to him tonight, come and wave to the people. Let them know you're still UPP. Brother Chandler Codrington.
It's plenty away, microphone is empty away. The band of fire and break over for the long term, it's not temporary. Stands up.
Brothers, hands for Chandler. Oh, yes.
Well, let me tell you one time, family is family, and not different from bloodline. Some say them is blood, but them don't want to see.
No, Brother Chandler is saying he's still here. And let me say this. He don't put me on notice that when we go All Saints West, make sure he in the batting lineup. He not going to bat tonight, but he wants to be in the batting lineup for All Saints West. So let me hear those horns again for Brother Codrington. All right, Bones. We're going good, right? We're going good, right? I know you all miss me in Bowlands, you know. I know you miss me. Hold on, Bones. Hold on, man. Hold on. let me tell you something. When we were coming to Freetown, couple people, you know, we're kind of a little worried because they say, you know, Freetown kind of like a far, and plenty people might not want to drive, come all the way out here. Because the thing, but let me tell you something. UPP people are independent people, and they make sure they have gas in their car for go anywhere they party there. So bones, let me get the people for bounce like them all. Make them bounce, they come a Freetown, come bounce. They come out here to bounce. Let me get up, you know it's all bounce. Look at them waving those hands. All right, boys. Yeah. Let me tell you something. As this thing gets more and more warm, you know, you're going to have to come early for hold your spot. Sister Giselle, you have to come early for hold your spot. Brothers and sisters, I'll have a bounce later when the leader come on. So save some of the energy, right? Save some of the energy. You have the Black Panther behind there warming up. You have the political leader warming up. But for right now, we're coming home to St. Philip South with Brother Sherfield Bowen, the next representative for St. Philip South. Honk your horn.
The man is a warrior, we are proud of him. From Christian Hill, Sherfield Bowen, never buckle under pressure, he never give in. The mantra he sing, I was born to win. A man of the people always, so humble, so brave. They could never stop him, we'll go down in history. Call Parliament on the Bethesda Tambren Street. The man is a warrior, warrior, we'll always rise, freedom fighter.
Honk your horn if you want the rice pudding gone. I don't think you heard me. I said, honk your horn if you want the rice pudding gone. Honk your horn if you want the top dog gone. Honk your horn if you want all of them gone. Greetings to the people of St. Philip South. From the hills of Piccadilly, the valley of Christian Hill, the jewel of Bethesda, all in St. Philip, Freetown, good night and blessings to all of you. I have to reintroduce myself tonight. Tonight is the first since I am speaking again in Freetown. More than 20 years ago, you elected me and sent me to Parliament. Within a few months, you're going to elect me again. Because this constituency has been abandoned, neglected, and forgotten. We must bring representation back. We must bring representation back. You see, I really believe that representation ought to come out of the people. Representation must come out of the people. You feel what I feel what you feel. When I navigate the roads coming home at night, in the darkness with the bush overgrown, I know what you're feeling. When you go to Parliament, you must have a person who knows the pain of the community. You must consider that you want a representative to represent, not to climb on the backs of our people to enrich themselves. Let me use their own words to tell you who they are. Let's use their own words. Words like, my son making $30,000 and $40,000 a month. What's the big deal? That's who they are. How many of you are making $30,000 to $40,000 a month? How many of you have to get by with $1,500 a month? So when they give you and put you in position to make $1,500 a month, they say it's no big deal for them to make $30,000 to $40,000 a month. What I say to you, you got to elect people who want to lift you up. You have to elect people who wants to go up with you. I, Sherfield Boyne, wants to lift you up. That's what I want to do. You are going to have a choice, and you have to elect from people who wants to enrich themselves or people who wants to lift you up. Let us use their own words. One tell his people, find ways to creatively enrich yourself. That's their own words. I say to you, I want to find ways to lift you up. I want to find ways to creatively enrich you and develop the community. That's what I want to do. So you have to choose between those who want to enrich themselves and those who want to build the community. I'm saying to you, let's use their own words. My wife is only 30 years old, or less than 30, and already a millionaire. That's who they are. On the contrary, people, I want to build a community, to develop a community, to build us up. I want to create opportunities for our people, to lift our people up. I want to make a difference among our people. And that's the choice that you have. You have to choose between the two. One is evil and self-centered and full of themselves, and one is a party of the people that put the people first. The choice is yours. You will have exactly what you choose. So if you want to lift people to enrich themselves, that's up to you. But what is being presented to you by the United Progressive Party is an organization that says people first, development of the community, development of the country. You have seen and you have heard all this talk about economic powerhouse. What about your household economic development? Is that happening in your household? Is that happening in your household? When we have opportunities in this very community, opportunities for quarry development, opportunities in our lands, does that go to you? There's those opportunities goes to our people. Well, I want to offer you representation where opportunities in our communities are shared with our people, to develop our people. That's what I want to do. I want to share love and care with my community. We have watched the pensioners, how they suffer and hurt to get the little pension that they have earned. They're not begging it. They're not borrowing it. It's not a handout. They have earned it. They have worked for it for many years. But yet, these cruel people that run the government refuse to pay them, refuse to make that a priority. This is a government, the United Progressive Party, people first. The poor, the vulnerable first. Look after them. Build up the bottom. And if the bottom is prepared and taken care of, all of us will be better off. Every sector of the community is crying. The workers from the sanitation, the nurses, Everybody is crying because only a small set of people this government care about. You know, I was listening to Parliament just recently. I heard our representative saying in Parliament, let's use their own words. He was saying to one of his colleagues, Labour Party make you have over $100 million. Imagine that. He's saying Labour Party make you have over $100 million. What happened to the people? That is the people's money. He's saying to his colleague, use your own money to develop your community. But how can you get so gallant that you don't even care to say that you took $100 million from the people? Imagine that. And meanwhile, pensioners cannot get paid. Sanitation workers cannot get paid. Nurses cannot get paid. The people at the bottom are left to be pressed down and deprived and without. And those who run the government talks about 100 million, all millions, my wife of million, my son million, million, and nothing for the people. I'm saying to you, the time is going to come for you to make a choice. And you have to make the right choice. Because the choice you make is what's going to make your future better. Make a choice for your children. Make a choice for the next generation. Make a choice for your own development. Because you have to get in yourself and think about who wants to lift you up. I said to you that I came because I want to lift you up. I want to make your life better. I want to fight to make your life better. And that's what I'm presenting. And so, never mind all the chatter. Never mind what is said. You have to think about who wants to lift you up. Because this is what representation ought to be. You got to have someone who wants to lift you up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you have to make a choice. And I'm saying to you, and I'm submitting to you, that the right choice is the United Progressive Party. The right choice, Sherfield Boyne for St. Philip South. The right choice is our esteemed leader, Howell Lovell. All over the country, in every constituency, you will have choices. And the right choice is the Redeem team. The team that wants to build the people up, that want to develop communities, that want to make a difference. You have to make your choice. You can see over the years, 8 years, you can see the ethos of this government. Every opportunity they speak about self-enrichment. They speak about their own self and their own family. You look at the contracts that they made. You look at the deals that they made. Where is the development of the people? We just had the budget. Where are the issues that concern the poor, the working class, the people who have problems? What measure is made therein to protect them? Is there anybody addressing the cost of living? Is there anybody addressing the taxes that poor people suffer with? You know, I have heard a story during an official investigation. I learned about a business in Antigua who, over the years, every year, get 400 duty-free. 400. And the customers to whom they sell, they collect the taxes from the people and then submit the duty-free and keep the taxes and share the taxes with the people signing the duty-free. How much more can you rape from your country? You know, it is John F. Kennedy who says, you should not ask what your country can do for you. You ask what you can do for your country. And that's the choice that you have to make. You have a choice of those who want to take from the country, and the choice over here who wants to give to the country. So the choice is an easy choice. You have the right choice with the UPP. And I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to vote for your children. Vote for your future. Vote for your grandchildren. Vote for community development. Vote for water in the tanks, water in the pipes. Just recently, I had to buy water for me to use. Just recently. And so I know if I don't have no water, my neighbors don't have no water either. Because I live here with you. And if I don't have no water, you don't have any water. So I know what you feel. And you need a representative who knows what you feel, who can adjust what you feel, who can make a difference and work for you because they have love for you. And that's what I bring to the table. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when the election comes around, you will have a choice. You will have to make an intelligent choice. You will have to make a choice between those who seek to enrich themselves and those who seek to enrich you. What I'm saying to you tonight is that the United Progressive Party and Sherfield Boyd intends to enrich you, to lift you up, to build you up. And so, when the election comes around, the only choice you have is the right choice, the United Progressive Party, Sherfield Boyd. Let's go back to Parliament. Thank you.
All join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, the rising sun, 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 sun. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is?
Yes, that sounds good. Sherfield going back to Parliament. St. Philip Sound. What do you say? I see St. Philip Sound over there. Oh, keep it waving it down. That's it. We're going to work to win this seat. We're going to work to win this seat.
If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, the rising sun, 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 sun. What time it is? What time it is?
Look, that song has bumps, boys. That song has some bumps.
What time it is?
Yes, my people.
Now is the time for action. Now is the time. To put them out. Now is the time.
We're moving right along.
Now is the time.
We're moving right along, boys.
Now is the time.
Yeah. We're going south.
The Black Panther.
We're going with the Black Panther. Returning. The Honorable Jamal Pringle to Parliament. Put your hands together. Hold your hands for brother Jamal Pringle.
Right man for the future. Right man for them youth.
Take it easy, I'll say Eastern Central. Oh Lord, they're here since 5:30.
Pringle are the right man.
People there don't go no further than here. Don't go no further than here.
Jamal is the right man.
I want to love you, sir. They love you, bird. They love you, bird, see.
And to the youth, them in a sports. Make them know they got
the Black Panther.
Bring back humanity in every community and build back all we bought.
Brother Jamal Pringle.
Black Panther the right man. Pringle
Yes.
the right man. Yeah. Black Panther the right man. Jamal, the Black Panther, the true superhero. You know you're inevitable. Pringle the right man.
Take it down, Bones. Wow. Is all that love for me? Where cute you go with the love story? Good night.
St. Philip South, I bring greetings on behalf of the wonderful people of All Saints East and St. Luke. Am I here alone tonight? I can't hear my All Saints East and St. Luke family. I hear somebody talking about they're going to win all seats. Could never. Antigua and Barbuda need a purge. And the people of this country is going to purge the nation of the Antigua Labour Party. We cannot continue to be fooled by the Antigua Labour Party with their false promises. But brothers and sisters, I just want to take this opportunity to stand in solidarity with my brother, Sherfield Bowen, a man who is solid and steady, a man who is competent and caring, a man who is undaunted, but most of all, a man who is not afraid. Brothers and sisters, I am here tonight very, very, very disturbed because an elder who helped to raise me is complaining about her shoulders because she had to lift a 5-gallon bucket of water. So it's not that lady that called in on a certain radio station alone is suffering. All of us are suffering. All those persons who cannot turn their taps and get water, they are suffering. But I want to say to you that the United Progressive Party is a caring party. So as we listen to your complaints, as we listen to the different situations that plague you as it relates to this water situation, we realize that as the next government, we must do something immediately. So brothers and sisters, I am not here to tell you about anybody that doesn't exist. Because the only person that exists is the man that's running here for the United Progressive Party. So I'm not going to even touch that. But what I want to say to you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda and St. Philip South, because we heard my brother Alex Brown complaining about the same thing over in St. Philip's North. But I want to say to you that your caring United Progressive Party have some immediate things that they're going to do to assist you, the people of this country. Brothers and sisters, I'm not about the Nancy story. I am not about promising you things that cannot happen. But what I'm here to say to you, that your United Progressive Party government will ensure that you can turn your taps and have running water. And how we are going to do so? We are going to deploy the water program. What is the water program? This is a relief effort to assist you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, so that you can access water at every turn. So what the UPP is going to do, brothers and sisters, we will immediately upon taking office, and they can steal this, we don't care, because we're full of ideas. Immediately, we are going to ensure that we remove all taxes on water pumps, storage tanks, everything that you need to ensure that when you turn your taps, you get water. We will make sure those things are zero rated as it relates to taxes. This is a caring, united, progressive party. No longer my elders are going to complain about lifting up those heavy jacks. That's a thing of the past. Your united, progressive party government already looked at that. And we are going to ensure that we make available to the people of Antigua and Barbuda funds so that you can access. That where you don't have a cistern, you can purchase a tank. And where you're able to construct a cistern, we will ensure that we make $5 million minimum available for the people of Antigua and Barbuda through the Development Bank. Because we want to ensure that you don't have a situation where you cannot bathe. We want to ensure that Granny can bathe. And we want to ensure also that Papi can bathe. This is what you can expect from a united progressive party government. Brothers and sisters, we are not stopping there. Wherever we realize the situation is worse than we expect, we are going to ensure that there are grants for those persons to be able to access those resources needed to have water 24 hours. Brothers and sisters, this is not limited to the people of Antigua and Barbuda alone. And when I say the people, I'm talking about you. But brothers and sisters, we're looking at the small businesses as well. We're looking at our farmers. We will ensure that through the Development Bank, our farmers can access financing to construct a secondary tank and all the accessories so that they can always have water on their farms. Brothers and sisters, there are a lot more, but I want to take this time to address my constituents. You have been a solid rock of support. And I thank you, but I also encourage you that the task is ahead. We have just started. This is the first term in office. And when you look at my performance, without the resources of government, we can be comforted knowing that when I take the reins of governance, that All Saints East and St. Luke will be transformed. Because I must show you the same love that you have shown me. Everything that I am here tonight is because of you and many others who put their trust in me. There are many others who said to me, you are not going to be a failure. You're going to make all of us proud. And I want to say thank you. And as I look to wind up, brothers and sisters, I want to say to you that whenever they call the election, I'm counting on all the young people out there under the sound of my voice. Ready yourselves. Make sure you're registered. Don't allow anybody to convince you that $500 can support you for 5 years. It could never happen. So I want to say to you, let us be firm. Let us stand firm on the principles of good governance. Let us stand firm on the fact that the United Progressive Party is the right choice for Antigua and Barbuda. Let us stand firm knowing that Jamal Pringle is the right choice for All Saints East and St. Luke. Because brothers and sisters, I want to see each and every one of you be empowered and not depending on a politician. And those policies that I've announced, brothers and sisters, it's not whether you're UPP or ALP. It's not whether you're a citizen or a resident. It's not whether you're born over there or you're born here. All these plans and programs that we are implementing are for all of Antigua and Barbuda. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for coming out in your numbers. As I look to leave this podium, I say to you, there is no other choice but the United Progressive Party. There is no other choice for the next Prime Minister than Brother Harold Lovell. There's no other choice for any constituency but the candidate for the United Progressive Party. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you. Until I meet with you again, I will tell you, continue to be the loyal supporters you are. Continue to be the United Progressive Party that stands for people first. We will ensure that we are going to change and transform your life and Antigua and Barbuda by extension. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
And if you never know, we charge up, we charge up, we charge up. We can't tire because we charge up, like that, we charge up, like that, we charge up, like that. So when you see me coming, you feel move on the way, move on the way. I'm set to move on the way, move on the way.
And brothers and sisters, the deputy has set the pace for the leader. Put your hands together for the next Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, the Honorable Harold Lovell.
Because when we roll, we don't roll alone. Anywhere that we go, you feel I'm moving up with me, family. With me, family. When we come to we must have fun. Turn up, dance me like a house. Everybody, jump it up together. Turn it up, turn it up. Mash it up together.
Yes, my people, that's the leader. Welcome him to Freetown. Let me see those flags. Let me hear those horns. Oh, yes.
Well, even if we fall out, Virgin, we go all out. We will never post the family, them for the sprawl out. Everywhere we crawl out, we ready to brawl out. Fire burn, our friend is family, we ball out. We jump in with peace, family. With peace, family. When we come to we must have fun. Turn up, dance me like a hammer. Just everybody, jump it up together. Jump it up together.
Good night, good night. Feeling good tonight. City East in the house. Let me hear you, City East. My brothers and sisters, oh, it's so nice to be here in the East. To be here in Freetown. And I'm here, my brothers and sisters, to proclaim the good news that the United Progressive Party will form the next government in Antigua and Barbuda. And I'm here to tell you that the man for the job up here is none other than Brother Sherfield Bowen. As they say, Sherfield is the real deal. Let me hear you say, Sherfield is the real deal. I can say for my brother, he has been tried and he has been tested. He's been through the furnace of adversity as the snares and schemes of the wicked try to destroy him. But they say what does not destroy you makes you stronger. And we are so happy to say tonight that our brother is not just strong, but he's come out stronger. Our brother is not just resilient, but he has come out even more resilient. And we know, my brothers and sisters, that Brother Sherfield brings to the table a level of wisdom and maturity that will serve any new government very well. We know that Brother Sherfield is committed to serve the people, not just of St. Philip South, but the people of Antigua and Barbuda. But I want to get a little personal tonight for my own sake. You know, when I come in the East, I think of the fact that my own mother is from the East. My mother came from Willie Keys, and she moved to St. John's in Grey Hill. And out of hard work, working that sewing machine, she was able to provide for me and my 4 sisters. But it says a lot about the people from the East. We know that so many of you here in Freetown, others who have come from other villages near and far, that the East has a special flavor about it. And as we talk about some of the outstanding individuals who have come from this area, I am moved to recognize the passing of the Lee family, the patriarch of the Lee family. And I want us to recognize, as Brother Chester did earlier, some among us who have really played their part. And I want to say to the Lee family that the United Progressive Party, we recognize and we remember the contribution of your father. But coming back to my own situation, I want to just reminisce on the fact that the values that I have came from the East. They came from my mother. And I recognized from an early age that it would be education that would allow me to become a man. And I played by the rules, got myself an education, and I'm happy that I'm here today able to serve my people. When I went away to study, I had opportunities that could have allowed me to go abroad, make a lot of money. But I chose to come back to Antigua to teach at the Antigua Grammar School. And seeing the suffering that so many parents had to go through, seeing the hardship of teachers, that got me into the spirit of political activity and activism. And my brothers and sisters, as we go forward in the sure knowledge that this is not a struggle for those who come to see what they can get. This is a struggle for those who have committed themselves to give to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. I want to say the future is our shared future. Your future, my future, our children's future. And we have to take a very serious look at what the future holds. Just to talk about the cost of living. We had a prime minister who went to parliament to pass a budget and had nothing to say about the cost of living. You know about the cost of living. You know that what used to be able to take you $50 is now $100. You know milk gone up, soap gone up, everything gone up. Cornmeal gone up too, so the fungi gone up. But we put on the table a proposal to bring some ease to the squeeze for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And you heard me when I put forward the proposal that we would reduce the duty on foodstuffs. Is that a good or bad idea? It's a good idea. And the dunce one they call Gaston Brown, he is saying, oh, they're already zero rated. Well, it is the ABST that is zero rated. I know, I was Minister of Finance. I was the one who designed the basket of zero rated goods for the ABST. But he's running this country as Minister of Finance. And it's either he knows and he's fooling you, or he doesn't know and he's proven to the people of this country that he is a confounded dunce. But let me restate once again, brothers and sisters. We know about the zero-rated goods. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about duty. Duty. You have things like cooking oil, you heard me say it before, attracts 40% duty on cooking oil. So any little fried fish, fried dumpling, anything you fry, the cost has gone up exponentially, hugely, to a great extent. We have to do something. We have to bring relief to our people. So we say we're going to look at reducing the duty on goods that come into this country, foodstuff. Now remember, when something that used to be landed at $100, when it lands for $150, the government is getting more tax. Because where it was 40% of $100 is now 40% of $150 for cooking oil, for example. So if we reduce the amount of duty, all that we're doing is passing on some of the additional benefit to the people. Anything wrong with that? Anything wrong with that? We're a people-first government, so who forget the benefit? Another people? But that's what we say. But you know, every time we put anything on the table for the benefit of the people, they say it can't be done. But you know the song. Who bring in the school meals program? Who bring in the school uniform program? Who raised pensioners' pension from less than $100 to $800? Who bring in the people's benefit program? Oh, Lord.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Oh, Lord. Turn it up, turn it up. Let me hear that again. Turn it up, turn it up.
Turn it up, turn it up.
Blow your horn for the UPP. And then we come to the water situation. But you know, cost of living, we spoke about that. And what we will do, when people ask what we will do, one of the first things we will do within the first 100 days is reduce the duty on foodstuff to bring relief to people. But then they ask what we're going to do about water. You heard tonight the cries of the people coming from Brother Alex Brown. Brother Alex Brown told you about the cries of the people from his constituency. You heard Brother Jamal Pringle, who told you about the relief measures that a UPP government will introduce in order to make your tanks more affordable, your pumps more affordable, to make it easier for farmers in this country as a people-first government. But I want to also say to you, brothers and sisters, that what they have been telling us is a pack of lies. That have so much as a water problem or water crisis. What we have is a crisis of management and a failing of leadership. Let me tell you something here, man. You heard them a few years ago boasting and bragging that APUA take over SEMCORP. You remember? Okay. When they took over SEMCORP, the plant at Crabs was producing 4.1 million gallons a day. Round that off, say 4 million gallons a day. Crabs, 4 million gallons a day. That was in 2016. Today, the plant at Crabs producing 2 million gallons a day. 2 million gallons. But it has the capacity to produce not just 4, it can produce 4.5 million gallons a day. You hear me? So they are actually producing just about half what can be produced. And then when you go to Camp Blizzard was built to produce 600,000 gallons a day. And today, Camp Blizzard producing 300,000 gallons a day. Half of what it can produce. When you go to Shell Beach can produce 1.7 million gallons a day, and today producing 1 million. And this story goes on. Fry's Beach, which was put in by the UPP, it has the capacity now. They've just added the 350,000 to produce 950,000, and they're producing 700. So the point I'm making, brothers and sisters, they have told us in the budget that they're going to build a plant in Bethesda that's going to cost the people of this country $14 million US. You hear me? 14 million US. How much that in the EC? Nearly 40 million EC dollars. You know what that could do? That 40 million EC dollars could be fixing the system where they have all the tanks in an act of wickedness. Let me tell you, they have a tank up at Patterson's with a capacity for 400,000 gallons of water. 400,000. And up to now, it's empty and it's not connected. You have a tank in Buckley's with a capacity of 300,000 gallons. And he's sitting up there. Cockroach run up and down on the tank. Ants down into the tank. Empty. And people can't get water. You have the tank at Collins. That tank full. But it's not connected. Now, my brothers and sisters, I have pointed out to you, first of all, the capacity that we have to produce water is way beyond what we are now producing. And the reason why we are not producing it is because of bad management. The government of Antigua and Barbuda stands guilty of gross negligence to the people of this country. Gross negligence. reason why the planted crops that can produce over 4 million gallons a day is producing half of that is because the government has not provided any clear plan. They have no system. They can't run anything. And so as a result of that, they don't clean the membranes. They don't look after the equipment. You run down. They have no scheduled maintenance. And so you look at what happened today. They put out a notice. They say emergency maintenance. So you run the car till the car wheel drop off, till the engine is smoke, till everything start crackle, pop, and then you lock down. And when they lock down, when you see the list, Vernon, Parham, Fort Road, Redcliffe Key, and the whole island. So no water in the country. No water in the country for 3 days, 72 hours. And when you talk about the connection of the tanks into the distribution system, the workers will tell you overnight you run the water into the tank, and by next day you can gravity feed. Right now, English Harbour is supposed to get water every day, all day. Liberta, All Saints, Willie, Freetown. If they were doing what the UPP established with those water tanks, to have the tanks for storage, that is where the answer lies. Because even when you go and pay more money for another reverse osmosis plant, if you don't have storage, you're wasting time. If you don't have storage, you're wasting time. And they have storage tanks sitting down, empty, idle, doing nothing, and nigga can't get water for bathe their skin. Imagine that. That is not just negligence. That is outright wickedness. And we need to demand that they immediately get going on this country. Get going. Come out. Time for them to go. Time for them to go. Blow your horn if you think it's time for them to go. And so, brothers and sisters, we can get things going with the cost of living. We'll help our people. And when it comes to water, not only will we introduce programs so that things that you need at home to help you to be more self-sufficient with water, things that you need on your farm as a farmer to have water, we're going to address those things. And when it comes to the overall system, we're going to fix that. Because they've been feeding you a lot of lies. And when I tell you that all the plants are producing well below capacity because this government has no vision and no plan and no program, I know what I'm saying. And they come and they give you a lot of hocus pocus, about 40% leakage. It's a lie. L-I-E, lie. Look, that lie so big. L-I-I-E-E-E. That's how you spell that lie thing. Look. Common sense. Pick sense from nonsense. If 40% of the water was leaking, everywhere you walk in Antigua, you'll see water sprout out. Because it means nearly half were in the pipe, outside of the pipe. The foolishness, nothing goes so. Talk to the workers, talk to the people who know this 40% leak is a big fat lie. It is a lie to cover up the fact that they are not producing, and they are not producing because they have no plan, no program, they have no management skills. Them don't know what them do. Time for them to come out. Pull up, pull up. Time for Antigua people get water. We have enough capacity to produce water. But they want to go spend money, $40 million, to go buy a plant that is not necessary. $40 million. But school children say that the reason why they're so keen for go spend money, go buy this and buy that, because guess what? Somebody in there getting some kickback why they're in so much a rush, rather than fix the problem, they're going to buy a new one. Can you imagine that? My brothers, I think we have enough reasons why we need to rid this country of this plague called the Antigua Labour Party. And so, what am I saying? My brothers and sisters, thank you very much. So, look, my brothers and sisters, in fact, my sisters and brothers, the train is moving. The momentum is building. We can feel the action in this country. People have had enough. People are fed up. It's time for a change. If you agree it's time for change, let me hear you, man.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
If you feel it's time for change, let me hear you.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Let me hear the horns if it's time for a change. Better days are coming, brothers and sisters. Better days are coming. Honk your horn for the UPP. Honk your horn for Sherfield Bowen. Honk your horn for the Redeem Team. Honk your horn, honk your horn. No retreat, no surrender. No retreat, no surrender. One love. That was the next Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda. Brothers and sisters, we have come to the end of tonight's program. I want to thank you for journeying to Freetown. Have a safe journey home and keep listening for the next rally. We will be coming at you again shortly. Stay tuned to my UPP Facebook page. Take your time and drive. Avoid going close to the pitch. Have a good night, brothers and sisters. See you at our next rally.
From Christian Hill, Sherfield Bowen, never buckle under pressure, he never give in. The mantra he sing, I was born to win. A man of the people always, so humble.
ready. Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for the right rhythm. The right rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's the right rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, my hard skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly won near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education, or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.